Hey everyone, it's James. Before the show starts this week, I will give you a quick disclaimer. I recorded this one with Gabby and Andre during a severe thunderstorm in the middle of summer, and because of that, we both lost power throughout the recording a couple of times. So it's not the easiest episode to listen to. It only really occurs in the first 15, 20 minutes or so, to the best of my knowledge, and then afterwards it's pretty smooth sailing. But I just thought I'd let you know that. Also, I interrupt way too much in this episode, so I do apologize. I get very mouthy, but I will be back on track in the future. I should also let you know that this week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by potato chips. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighborhood film snob. And it's still January, so we're still talking about 2022. Are you sick of it yet? Too bad. This is the last episode we're doing it, but we have to wrap up our 2022 review with a couple of favorites. Our first guest, we got two this week. Our first guest is a fan favorite since day one, has racked up more listens than anyone else. So of course, we couldn't go through January without speaking to her. I was going to open with a pun and I lost confidence, but I'm still going to do it. We'll say Gabby New Year to Gabby Van Geilenberg. What a garbage pun that was.
I'm so embarrassed.
Do you know what's funny? I was just going to just launch with that. And then I lost, you could see me lose confidence as I was building to it. I'm like, you idiot.
Your face is just I forget that people can't see, but it was just like half a smile, and then it's started to internally cringe a little bit, and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. It's fine.
Got to lean into it. That's the persona. I'm not gonna try and be anything I'm not. You're gonna get bad puns here, and most people won't enjoy them, and that's fine. I'm gonna accept that. It's not as bad as when I sounded so out of breath introducing Tyler and Harley back in October, where I was like, and they're big fans of movies. I'm a professional. Oh my God, that was so nerve-wracking. It's so funny because they were so cool and lovely the entire time, but I was just like, these are Hollywood people. Okay. All right, that made up for the pun. There are two guests. Of course, Gabby has to be one of them, but our second guest, if you haven't put it together already, and it's probably in the title, so just read the bio of the episode. He's a show fan who became a fan favorite and a huge cinephile. Please welcome back Andre Balsari.
Hello, tis I.
Did I get it right? Did I stuff it up?
No.
Did you hear me lose confidence? That's twice. I lost confidence. Andre Balsari. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me back.
I've been really keen to get you back. Obviously, I'm always happy to have Gabby. And Gabby, I was thinking about this before. If I ever find a way to monetize this show and do it as a full-time job, you'll probably become a regular co-host.
Hey, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that I enjoy doing. And I enjoyed doing it before there was ever money involved. So let that be on the record, please.
Absolutely. You do it as a passion. And then when everyone wants to pay you money, please follow the Instagram and keep liking the show, please. I want to make money off this. If you can take a passion and turn it into a financial gain, then absolutely do it. I'm just going to subliminally ask for money throughout the show, like those old TV shows. I was on.
Sorry, you just made me think of something completely unrelated to this, but I know someone personally who thought it would be a good idea to start a GoFundMe for their wedding. Mm-hmm. And there's no tragedy involved. They just don't want to pay for it. So I mean, if they're comfortable enough to do that to their family and friends, I mean, why not open it up to a GoFundMe for you to leave your full-time job and become a full-time podcaster? Who knows?
I mean, I'll say this. I work really hard at it, and I do care about it. I wouldn't be kind of half-assing it. I was on a podcast. It hasn't actually aired yet, but I'm a guest on an upcoming podcast. I still don't know if I'm allowed to announce it, so can't give out the title. But one of my listeners in North America, he runs a podcast, and I was like, I'd love to get on the show. So I came on and talked about horror films with him, and he's going to be on my show when we figure schedules out. And the entire time, all I did was beg his listeners to come over to my show.
Just poach them.
I learned from Lloyd Kaufman, who created Toxic Avenger. Like, he's just a shill. He just goes out and is like I listen to interviews and he will mention the name of the new film and his company 50 times in a 10-minute interview. I'm like, that's how you do it. So
Just
that's
a
it.
shameless plug. And you know what? The more times you say, the more people think about it, and they might make fun of you for doing it, but they're still talking about you, which means it's word of mouth, it's getting out. So whatever.
We are looking into merch. I was talking to my good friend Nick Owen, and he found a way for us to be able to get merch without spending any money, which is really, really good. Like that, I can't remember what it was. I could call it drop selling or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but basically, you just they take a cut, and so we're going to look into getting some merch. But I'm trying to decide whether I want to go with the really ratty logo I've got created on my phone in 2 minutes, or whether we get an artist involved and create something cool. But we are looking at merch. That'll be the first thing before we go into Patreons and stuff like that. But there's a whole plan of what we can do with the show. What's really shameful is I've been looking forward to catching up with Andre, and then all I did was talk to you, Gabby, about stuff that had nothing to do with the show. Very happy to have you back, Andre. Your episode was the second highest listened to of all time, which is no mean feat for a first-time guest. That was great.
Oh, well, that just jumps my ego up to like second level.
Good.
Weirdly, you were talking about merch because I was look, forgive me, but I was thinking about it like 3 days ago. I was actually thinking about merch for your show, and I just want a T-shirt of your face, and at the top it just says "nice one."
It is a catchphrase that I can't avoid. Like, it's just everyone has just like a filler word, and nice one is a big one of mine. It used to be beautiful, and that was awful. Like, you'd be like, beautiful, beautiful. And it sounded really creepy as well. So I'm glad we've co-opted nice one instead. We used to do a podcast a few years ago, and we will start the show soon, guys. This is just bands. Just listen to it. A couple of years ago, I did a different podcast with Nick and my wife, Tina, and we weren't married at the time, so she was my girlfriend, in case you guys couldn't put that together. And the show was called Past the Remote. It was a very similar premise, but we also did movie reviews. We did news, so we'd look up, I would look up news, and we talk about news, we talk about trailers. We did a section called Trailer Trash and stuff like that. And we did a couple of episodes on the Alien movies. So we went and saw Alien Covenant together, and then we also watched the original Alien. And Tina, I wanted to say both of them, like, so what do you think? And Tina's like, well, she was, that first Alien was just a bit slow, which was blasphemy to me because Alien's one of my favorite films of all time, and it was a dagger in my heart. And I was like, okay. I was like, but what do you think of Covenant? She was like, Covenant was great. Which to me, I was like, well, I mean, I like Covenant, but I mean, Alien's Alien. And I was like, well, what would you give Alien out of 10? And she goes, oh, like maybe a 6. And I was like, for a moment, and then I was like, oh my God, we have one piece of merch. We only need one piece of merch. It's a cartoon. It's a T-shirt with a cartoon of Tina holding up a 6 out of 10 to the Xenomorph being sad. And that's what I wanted to do because she's a school teacher. So just like the Alien being sad with the 6 out of 10, I was like, that would be genius. But the show just wasn't consistent enough towards the end. It was right before COVID and stuff. So
I think you have a friend that is a bit of an artist, don't you?
Yeah, Josh. Josh is an artist as well, but also like I've relied on him for free art a lot, and not that I wouldn't pay him. Like, I totally would pay him, but also like he's also running his own company, and he listens to the show, so I'm sure he'll be like, "Hey, ding dong, just message me. I'll do art for you." But at this stage, I'm just kind of happy. I like that it's kind of punk and underground and low rents and stuff. I like that it doesn't have any clean or polish. Like, I don't edit the show except for cutting out some of the kind of preambles where I'm cracking my neck multiple times, or I've only ever cut one episode ever, and that's because one guest was like, oh, I made a comment that I'd rather not be on there, and it wasn't even inflammatory, but I was like, all right, fine, no worries. Tina was super racist for 10 minutes. No, she definitely wasn't. She definitely wasn't. I realized that I disparage her a lot whenever I'm in interviews. It's because I've known her forever, so we just take shots together. She was certainly not. Tina's great. It wasn't her, I promise.
No, anytime I listen...
It was Maddie, okay? I'm going to say it was Maddie. I'll throw her under the bus. I won't say what, but Maddie said something, and she was like, I'd rather not that be on there. But it was nothing bad.
Yeah, I was just going to say, every time I listen to Tina's episodes, like I was listening to...
She doesn't hold back. She'll say whatever.
No one this morning, she said something. She's like, oh, that was fucking annoying. I couldn't stop laughing because, like, I always like listen to it so I can like have a nice ride to work or something, and like when she says something like that, it's just because I'm not expecting it, and because she sounds so like sweet and nice, and she's like, oh fucking hell, and I just start laughing.
Well, it's funny. Like, this is a very and we're getting really admin-y, but I don't mind because like it's been go about movies for the last couple episodes. But I run a pretty clean show, like not deliberately. Like every episode is marked explicit. And I always tell people, say whatever you want. Like you can curse as much as you want. I don't really care. But most people just kind of play it clean or whatever. But Tina is and Maddie a little bit, but Tina's the big exception. She's just like, she'll just let loose. And also, I run a very positive show, and like I don't expect my guests to be positive, but I kind of hit a place in my life recently, and I've talked about this a few times, I think, and I definitely talk about it on the show that I'm a guest on, where I just kind of stopped hating on films and start being so snobby. Like that's, the point of the show isn't me learning to be better, even though that's kind of the side of it. It's more about me just being like, you know what, like if, that's the philosophy. If every movie is someone's favorite movie, then there can be no bad movies.
Yep.
Argumentatively speaking. So I run a very positive show, and most of my guests end up being quite positive as well, and don't really criticize things. Not Tina. Tina's like, no, I'm bringing you to real street. You can live in your candy cane fairy floss land where everything's nice, but guess what? That sucked.
No, I appreciate it.
Me too. Like I do like that. Yeah. Sorry, Andre.
The movie that I just can't defend is the M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: Last Airbender live action movie.
I've never seen it.
Don't.
It's one of those ones. Well, I probably will eventually. Like I said, I'd never watch Pixels, and then I was like, oh, maybe movies don't have to be, cinema to be appreciated. Like maybe they can just be fun and silly. But I know a lot of people have issues with that movie. What's really interesting, I saw a post, I think it was just before Christmas, and one of the creators of The Last Airbender, the animated series, was like, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we got told we couldn't call our show Avatar. We had to give it a subtitle because Fox had booked out the name Avatar for a movie and a bunch of sequels. He's like, this new movie is about people who can manipulate water. Because if that next film is about fire people, I think we have to sue. And literally, like in the last week, James Cameron's like, we're going to fire people next.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty amusing. I haven't seen any of the Avatars, famously, but I will get to it, actually. Yeah.
My heart here, man. It's a beautiful series.
Well, I mean, remember, I was quite snobby when the first one came out, and my thing was I was so punk and anti-establishment, clearly. Like, look how hard I am. Where I was just like, if this, I've got a real thing with James Cameron. I think, and I've talked about this a few times, and people are sick of hearing it. Like, geez, shut up, move on. Like, just marry him already. Obviously, he's a genius, and like he's implemented so many wonderful changes, and he's helped develop technology that's moved cinema far further forward than it would ever have without him. It just says dumb things, and like he always says dumb things at like the worst possible times. And he seems to have a real chip on his shoulder about people outperforming him, and it's just like, it's like if they're all successful, everyone wins.
Yeah.
Like him being like, if we don't make $2 billion, then we might as well not make a third movie. I'm like, that's a weird bar to set for yourself. Like maybe don't make a $2 billion movie. Like,
yeah, I don't know. And every time he comes out with these things that he says, like, yeah, it's got to be this much money or blah, blah, blah. I just feel like he says things to sound like an authority on the topic, and it's just like, just stick to what you're good at, make good movies, and relish in their success, but also be happy for others when they're succeeding. Like, you don't need to try and bring something else down to make yours look better. Let them stand alone and be good as they are, because from the ones that I've seen that he has directed, like I've liked most of them. So
great filmmaker, but like just he's someone who people the same way people like are obsessed with Top Gun, the first movie, not the second one. The second one is brilliant, which I have a feeling we might talk about later. I'm not sure. I don't want to give the game away, but I got an inkling. But the first movie, people are like, Top Gun forever, it's amazing, getting it tattooed on their chest and like calling each other Iceman and stuff. Yeah, like Gabby calls everyone Iceman all the time at work. She's like, hey, Iceman. I'm like, geez, we're all Iceman. Top Gun is a fine movie. It's not a bad film. It's pure entertainment, but like people have hyped that film up to the point of, it's just a bit too much. And I feel that way about James Cameron. I'm just like, look, he's a great filmmaker. But when I was bitter and I was snobby and I didn't care for him at all, I was so thrilled that his ex-wife beat him at the Oscars for Best Picture. But like I hadn't seen any of the films. I just liked that his ex-wife beat him. But no, I will see Avatar. Again, that's a very long story for me saying I will watch it. I'm at a point now where I've made my peace with James Cameron, and I think he appreciates it as well. I think he's been sick of all the back and forth we've had. But I will eventually.
Not you and James Cameron. Yeah.
You can see how much I'm riffing tonight, guys. I'm just like, it's quips a minute. I've been asking everyone this. I'm changing subjects very, very, very quickly. 2022, I loved for film. I thought it was a really great movie year, but I've heard a lot of people kind of say the contrary, which is fine. Like, everyone has their opinion. How was 2022 in film for you guys? What did you think? Did you think it was a good movie? Good movie year? Was a bad movie year? Was kind of like a meh? How did you guys enjoy the cinematic world of 2022?
Oh, I thought well, I'll start off with Marvel movies. I feel like one in particular that I have on my list was really top tier.
Mhm.
Because Gabby and I went to the movies a fair bit. And only in gold class because we're snobby like that.
You got to. That's what I've started doing. I'm like, I'm going solo a few times now. It's always going to be gold class.
Oh yeah, especially like when we went to go see Avatar. If you're going to sit on your ass for 3 hours, you may as well be comfortable.
Mhm.
But yeah, like the only movies that I have on my list, like, are really the only ones that I've seen, and I couldn't think of anywhere else. I was shattered because I thought that Spider-Man No Way Home was a 2022 movie, but it came out late December 2021, I think.
It was, I think, one of the last movies in 2021 I saw, and it soared to the top of the list. And I watched it 3 times last year. Like, that flick holds up unbelievably. Like, every
So
time
good.
I'm looking for flaws, I'm like, nope, it's perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same. I was having a look at 2022 releases to make sure that I got in everything that I had seen, and I think I looked up like 2022 movie releases, and apparently there was like 13,000, which I didn't know that. I didn't like.
But
I don't,
that's internationally.
and
Like,
that's right. So that's international as well. So when I was going through the list, I think I made it to like. I think it was initially sorted in like most to least popular. And so after I made it to like 500 or something out of the popularity, I then switched it to like A to Z to see if I'd missed any. And the one that I was hoping to find was Encanto. And then I realized that was 2021. So I was like,
yeah.
I've been wasting my time.
I still haven't watched Encanto. I literally went through my Disney Plus yesterday, and I was like, I've been really, really lax on Disney Pixar films for the last couple of years. So I was like, I'm just gonna go through Disney Plus and look at all the CG ones I've missed, like all the anime. So I haven't seen Encanto. I haven't seen Turning Red. I haven't seen Luca. I haven't seen like anything from pretty much from the last few years, with the exception of Lightyear. I think that's about the only one I've seen.
Have you seen Coco?
No, I haven't seen Coco.
Oh, that's good.
I think the last one I saw in theaters was probably Moana. Maybe Moana. There might have been one after Moana. Yeah.
My oldest sister, she, she can't not cry if someone mentions the final scene in Coco. Like, we were talking about it the other day, and she just started saying the line out loud, and then she started to cry.
I will say that she is like 6 months pregnant.
I don't have an issue with that.
Pregnant.
Oh,
yeah.
I've never.
That I cry too.
Until this year or till last year, I'd never cried just talking about a film. Before I've come close. Like, there's a moment I think I think the second episode where I talked to Maddie, where we're talking about the importance of film, and I get very wanky, and very self-indulgent. But like talking about what film means to me, and I did crack up, just crack a little bit. I got a little bit emotional. But Clerks 3, after I watched it, like I went like a week without talking to anyone about it because no one had seen it. I was talking to Tina, and I was like, hey, like, I already know the answer, but what are the odds you're going to watch that film? And she's like, pretty much zero. I was like, fair enough. I was like, well, can I just talk to you about it? Because this is rattling around in my head. Look, I can't shake this film. I just need to talk about it. And literally, like, I was talking to her about it for like 15 minutes, and about the 10-minute mark, I just started like welling up. I'm like, I can't talk about this film without getting emotional. So I got no problem with someone crying talking about films because it happened to me for the first time last year.
Yeah, I think I know, to sort of answer your question, like, I enjoyed the films that I did see. There was only like maybe one that I wasn't overly impressed, and it didn't mean like I don't like it. It's just like,
is it on his list?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then if it's on his list, like say what it is. But if it's not on his list, then don't talk about it yet.
And it's I guess it's maybe because like, and I'll sort of expand on it in a minute, but like there are other films of the same genre, I guess, that I liked more.
That's how I felt about. I'm just going to say the movie, and if it's on anyone's list, then obviously we'll talk about it later. But that's kind of how I felt about Barbarian. It might be on Andre's list. I'm not sure because he likes horror films. Barbarian, I really enjoyed, but I think it was one of those ones. It's not on your list?
No, unfortunately not. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, cool. No result. It's a great film, but I think people were just like, "It's changing horror," and it's like, no, it's not. Like, it's really good, and I did like it, and it barely missed the cut. Like, it was a really good film, but like sometimes people get a little bit too excited about things. Like Terrifier 2 is another one which I really enjoyed for a lot of different reasons. But I was like, well, it's people like I don't know why. Again, I'm going to say for the third episode in a row, why were people throwing up in cinemas? I just don't understand.
No, you'll see that on Facebook reviews. Like, people are passing out like in the cinemas, or people are going into cardiac arrest or pissing themselves in the cinemas from like watching.
All right, so this is a weird pause there. Basically, the internet at my house is cut out because it was a storm cloud, and Gabby and I have decided that Andre is bad luck, but that's okay.
Cool. Yeah.
No, not at all. Andre, before we were so rudely interrupted by the weather, you were saying that people were getting cardiac arrest in cinemas.
Oh no, no. Like, I was just making a joke about about Facebook clickbait. They'll exaggerate to the point of it being ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, there are a few films that people have talked about that in the past. Like Human Centipede was one, and I've seen plenty of gnarly cinema in my time, and I've never. I think like 2 films ever have made me feel nauseous. One of them being The Fly, because that film is so gross. But no, like I've never thrown up. Although Gabby's sister, we won't name her to protect her identity, but Gabby's sister was saying that she had a friend that threw up watching Terrifier 2. Which I was like, oh, must be pretty intense. And I watched them like, Gabby's sister's friend is not good at watching movies.
I'm not being a hater, but her friend also had a rat as a pet. So, like,
I had a rat as a pet.
Yeah, well, you have redeeming qualities. Liking rats isn't one of them.
Oh.
I'm a rat hater, a rodent hater, so whatever.
They're adorable.
But I was saying, like, and I didn't know whether you'd frozen because you sort of looked like eager to hear what I was going to say.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And then like nothing came out, and I was just like, So
I don't know if you can hear that was thunder again. And I think my dogs are going to be losing their minds in the other room. But if I let them in here, it's just going to be dog noises for the next hour and a half. So they might just have to deal with it. Loki will be chill. He's very chilled out. But Luna's just, after 8 years of being in life, she still can't understand thunderstorms. So.
But yeah,
she can't understand people walking on the other side of the road. Like, this dog.
Small dogs have that weird thing of like, if a leaf blows outside, they need to investigate it, and by investigate I mean bark at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just saying, like, piggybacking off what Andre was saying, I said I think it must be something. Like, I have a theory that it must be like their advertising or production team that goes out and puts this stuff into the universe, because it generates talk, and then people are like keen to see it, to see if that has that effect on them. And even if it doesn't, they're still talking about it. So, the more hype the movie gets, the more people are going to go see it, the more money they're going to make. I could be wrong, but I think that, it happens so often. So
yeah, I think most of the time you're right. But the director came out and, like, again, it could be all PR, but he was like, "Look, I don't want people to get hurt watching my movie. Like, yeah, I want to make something weird and confronting and full on, but people should be able to watch it, not feel unwell." So I think he was a bit disappointed, but I don't know. It could just be all PR. Did you guys just have a power thing as well?
Yeah. Our power, like my power over here, is flushing.
Yeah. For those listening at home, it was like a 30-something degree day today, and like with the heat and the combination of a thunderstorm, like we know it might just be in some tech trouble, but it just happens. That is the downside of having a low rent underground punk podcast, is that you can't afford to pay the bills.
Classic Melbourne weather.
But at least we're edgy. Well, it sounds like you guys had a pretty good year in movies, even if you didn't see heaps. But that's fine. Like, it's all about what you see, not how much you see.
Yeah.
We should jump into your list now. I understand we're going to be doing things a little bit differently because you've seen so much of the same things together, and you have very common lists. We're not going to really do a numerical order. We're just going to kind of go through what you've seen first, or we're going to do what you haven't seen first, or how are we going to? What do you guys want to do?
We'll go through the ones that we haven't seen together, just so that we can sort of collaborate a little bit more.
Yep.
Because otherwise it'd be like, oh, this one, oh no, that one was my number this, and then my number was this. So it'd just be very repetitive. But I'll start one of the ones that I saw last year that I really, really liked, and if I had it in a numerical order, it would be my number 10, was Jurassic World Dominion.
Interesting. Jurassic World. That was my New Year's Eve movie, Jurassic World Dominion. I watched it alone after we finished watching Lightyear.
Yeah.
Tell me all about Jurassic World Dominion.
So, it was kind of like a little bit nostalgic. It was like, piggybacking off the last one. I didn't love the last one.
Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah, I didn't love that one. But it was sort of like setting the last one up a little bit.
The best part of that film to me is the last shots, like the dinosaurs in the real world. Spoilers for a 6-year-old movie. Yeah.
So, but I was just really looking forward to, I grew up watching Jurassic Park and being obsessed with dinosaurs and all things dinosaurs. So, it had that sort of nostalgia pull for me. And I don't know, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I think it's been out for quite a while now. So
yeah, it was a summer movie, which is winter for us. But it was a middle of the year movie.
Yeah, it's been a while. So if you haven't seen it and you want to, just skip forward 7 minutes or something. I don't know.
Don't do it. Pause the episode. Don't miss an absolute second of the show. Go watch it and come back.
Yeah, actually, you're right. That's a way better suggestion.
And do it with all the movies we listen to. So look, it's going to be a 40-hour experience, but it'll be worth it.
Correct. But I was just really excited to have Jeff Goldblum back and Sam Neill and Laura Dern, but also my friends and I think I spoke about this on another episode. We have seen it so many times that we will pause it at certain parts and notice errors or just really funny stuff to do with the movie. So in the first Jurassic Park, Dr. Malcolm he gets launched by a T-Rex when that other guy's in the toilet. And so the whole your focus initially is, the guy getting eaten off the toilet by the T-Rex. But what you don't see is, him, Dr. Malcolm getting absolutely launched and his legs are fully spread. And it's just I've watched it frame by frame so many times in hysterics of laughter just because it's so funny.
One of my favorite instances of that is in the first Lethal Weapon film, where, I don't know if you've seen it, but in Lethal Weapon, at one point, Mel Gibson's crazy. That's the whole part of his character. And he goes up to there's a jumper on the roof, and instead of trying to talk to him, he's like, do it, just jump. And he handcuffs himself to the jump. He's like, we'll do it together. And they jump off. And when it cuts them in the air, very clear there's a meter gap between their arms, so there's nowhere the handcuffs just gone. And that's one of my favorite. It's so noticeable. I was like, how did people in the 80s not notice this? But it's so funny. You hear stories about older movies where they're people are never going to be able to see this when they watch it at home. They'll never notice it. And now we live in the age of Blu-ray. We can literally pause and go frame by frame and see every error.
Yeah.
Dominion. Sorry, I got us sidetracked again.
No, that's okay. So one of the reasons why I liked it so much and I got really excited was when I realized who the bad guy was, I guess. Because in the first Jurassic Park, at the very start, you see I always forget his name, but it's Newman from Seinfeld.
Yeah, Wayne Knight.
Yeah. So you see him at some like outdoor bar in Puerto Rico, I think it is, and he's like doing some covert like meet up with some guy, and he's like, "Oh, Dawson," and he's like, "Shh, I thought we were using secret names," and he's like, "Dawson, we got a Dawson here. See, nobody cares." And I say that to my friend all the time. Like, I'm just like, "See, nobody cares," and yeah, he was the villain. So, like that. For me, I just felt like it was really funny, and I was always like excited to talk to my friend about it because I was like, oh, like I hope you get it, and I hope you like get as excited about it as me. And I thought the story was pretty good. It definitely wasn't the best movie that I saw all year, but I did appreciate it for what it was.
It's a pretty fun flick.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
It's not even a problem, but it's one thing I would have preferred, like watching. I'm like, everyone's in. We've got everyone back. The new cast, the old cast. It takes like 2 hours to get them all together in a 2.5 hour film.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like you've got Chris Pratt opposite Jeff Goldblum. You've got and I'm forgetting everyone, Sam Neill and Laura Dern. Why is it taking us like 2 hours to get them all together in the same room?
Yeah.
And it probably had to do with shooting schedules and everything else. I'm like, that's felt like a really missed opportunity. We could have got some good content with all of them together at the same time. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my computer. Don't mind my poor technical prowess. All right.
No, but yeah, no, that was probably my biggest, like, I don't know, peeve of the movie. Is it the same thing? Like, I wanted them to sort of be a whole, I thought that they were going to be like a whole team.
The way that you see the trailers, it looks like they get together very early in the film.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh. But yeah, very. I really liked it.
I'm glad it's on your list because I've spoken to a few people about their favorite movies of the year, and no one's brought it up. And like, that's a franchise closer. Like, that's a big film. Like, I mean, I'm a big Marvel comic movie fan, obviously, but like, I'm glad to see non-comic book properties get some attention as well. Like, it's, there was a time before, and there will be a time after comic book movies, and they need their day in the sun as well. So I'm glad Jurassic World's on your list.
Yep.
What's yours, Andre? The first film that Gabby didn't put on her list that's on your list.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it in the last one, but it's Smile.
I finally saw Smile.
Yeah,
again, to reference Gabby's sister for the second or third time in the show, I spoke to her about it. I think actually when we all got together at that Christmas party, she was telling me about it, and she's like, "It's not really scary. It's just they really lean more into the psychological side of things and like people's mental disorders and mental health and stuff." I was like, "That's cool." Nope, scariest film of 2022 for me. Terrifying. Really scared me. Yep. Like, I don't cover my eyes much in films, but I did the adult version of covering my eyes, which is you look at your phone for a moment just to look away from the screen. I did that so much in that film. It was a very effective jump scares. Like, they never felt cheap. That one's, of all the horror films I saw, that's the one that scared me most.
Yeah. Like, even though I love horror movies, I can't help but jump. And I went and saw it with my friend Sean. Sean is the complete opposite of me. I like I said, jump scares like in that one are rare, but they're very effective. And when I jumped and I look aside, like all I see is a robot sitting next to me, just blankly staring at the screen. So yeah, but fantastic film. I like that you didn't they didn't show you what it was until the end of the film.
And like all practical effects, to the best of my knowledge, and terrifying. Like, even before you see the smile monster, even just the mum, I'm like, gee, like that's just a guy with makeup. Spoilers, it's a guy. Like,
really?
It's a dude. And I saw his IMDb photo. I'm like, he's just as scary without the makeup. Like, he's just a creepy looking dude.
He's just fucking ugly.
Even I think the smile monster with the I was just mimicking how he reveals his face. She tears his face off. Like, even that I think was practical, terrifying, like so scary.
Can I just ask, is this like a standalone movie, or will there be a sequel?
I imagine there'll be a standalone.
There's franchise potential. Your next movie, Smiles. Way more, because the way it ends, it does set up the possibility for more. Because It's kind of like The Ring, in as much as like once someone experiences the monster, it gets passed on like through
yeah.
through different ways. I'm sorry, I'm explaining your movie. Sorry.
No, that's fine. Fantastic flick. You have the main character,
She
who,
was brilliant. Brilliant.
yeah, and she's a psychologist herself. And then a patient arrives at the beginning of the film, terrified and
Caitlin
terrified.
Stacey from Neighbours, for any Australian fans.
I was gonna ask, was that her?
That was the only disappointing thing for me in that film, because I really like her work. She's in a really great film from about 10 years ago called All Cheerleaders Die. If you haven't seen it, it's great. I just picked it up on Blu-ray. But I was like, oh, she's on all the posters, so she's gonna be one of the main characters. Nope.
No.
Doesn't make it to the credits.
But for me, her smile in particular was
terrifying.
What was the creepiest out of the film, especially in the kitchen in the dark, when
yes.
you can just barely see her face, but her teeth are outlined because they're white. But when I saw that, I was like,
that was the moment I paused it for the first time. So I started watching it in an evening, and I got to that point. I was like, you know what? I will resume this movie in the morrow, because there was too much. I think it's hailing outside right now. I just heard like some like heavy. Anyway, I just got distracted by the weather.
It'll probably hit us pretty soon then.
Yeah.
But that first one with that smile in the background terrified me. I was like, why? Like, no, this is. Come on, man! Like, I was told this wasn't scary.
She lied.
I've definitely seen personally, I've definitely seen scarier films.
Agreed.
In the realm of monsters and stuff like that. But like I said, the jump scares are fantastic. They're executed very well.
That head one, Jesus Christ, wasn't expecting that.
And at the end, when you see the monster, it's a good 10-15 minutes of just pure horror without it outstaying its welcome.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Fantastic cast. Lovely to see Kal Penn back in a movie. I'm sure he's done stuff recently, but he had like a political career at one point. But really glad to see him in there. Kyle Gallner, who is kind of a horror legend at this point. He's done a lot of horror. He was in, I think, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, maybe. He's in Red State. He was in Jennifer's Body. You've seen him in everything. Like, I think he was in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Kyle Gallner was just always in horror films for the last decade. But good to see him in a bit more of a mature role. He was the ex-husband. I could not believe how effective it was. But also don't know if I'll ever watch it again. Like, it really scared me. I was like, I will eventually. Like, now I know what to expect. But just between the jump scares and the practical effects and makeup, so effective. I'm interested to see, because you questioned it being the scariest film, which is fine. Is there a film you saw last year that's scarier, or is that going to be on your list later?
Another good horror movie that I had on my list about 10 minutes ago, but I looked it up and I realized it actually came out in 2021, so I had to quickly backpedal. Was Black Phone. I thought
Black Phone was last year.
It was last year?
It was shot in 2021 but had a 2022 release.
Oh, sick. All right. Well,
spoilers. It might be back on the list.
That's okay. You can talk about it.
Because Black Phone was on my list as well.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about that now because I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, we can jump straight into Black Phone, a film that I adored. Yeah. So that's on your list again now?
No, yep. Yeah. No, that I saw it. Yeah, I saw it with my friend Jess, and yeah, that was great. That was really good. Ethan Hawke, right?
Ethan Hawke, Scott Derrickson directing. Scott Derrickson, famously probably most known for Doctor Strange, but before that did Sinister, which is one of the scariest films of all time.
Sinister's fantastic.
And I looked it up after, because we talked about Sinister the last time you were on. I think I messaged Gabby within 24 hours. I'm like, there is a boy in a box. I found the photo and I think I sent it to her. I knew there was a boy in a box in that movie. The Black Phone, I was expecting to be terrifying. And as a parent it is, but as a horror film, I found it to be very, very watchable. Like never too scary, never too unsettling. Felt a lot kind of like Silence of the Lambs in a way. Just like it's weird and it's messed up, but it's not. I'm not hiding behind my phone, covering my eyes and stuff.
Yeah, correct. I think there was like a jump scare in there, but it wasn't like, for me personally, it wasn't scary, but it was just very interesting. And that mask
Yeah,
is fantastic.
all the different pieces, like so cool.
Yeah, I was a little, to be honest, I was a little disappointed that they didn't delve more into into Ethan's character.
Mm-hmm.
Like they mentioned it a little bit, but also throughout the film, you'll see his mask start to change.
Yeah.
Um, and I was hoping that they would mention some sort of significance behind that, or why he's doing it in the first place.
I didn't mind that, and I totally understand the criticism of it, and I would love more. But one of my favorite horror films of all time is The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the reason I love that movie so much is that bad stuff happens from start to end with no reason. Um, and it's also similar to The Strangers, which I think we might have talked about before, where the whole reason for everything that happens in The Strangers is just because you were home. I kind of like sometimes the idea of senseless horror, just like bad stuff is going to happen sometimes. But the same point, like I'd love to know more about that mask. I'd love to know more about that character. I think there's a lot of room to explore. The guy who plays his brother is so like he's in like all of Scott Derrickson's films just about, but like just seeing him play like the strung out drug guy, like I'm gonna find the killer or the abductor. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's in his house.
And the little girl who plays the sister is maybe my new favorite actress.
Oh, she was wonderful.
So funny, so much attitude, like on par with the girl who plays Lyanna Stark, like the little young girl queen, and who's in Last of Us now, which I haven't watched yet, but apparently is brilliant. And also the little girl who played young Tonya Harding in I, Tonya. She was also the girl in Ghostbusters last year or 2 years ago. Those three actresses, like they're new Hollywood. Like they're going to take over in about 10 years' time. They're great. But no, I adored Black Phone. I could not. I went and saw two movies with Black in the title that day. I watched Black Phone, and then I went and saw Black Adam, and I was like.
And then you were in the Black Parade.
Yeah. Well, I was having a black day, I think, like a real black cloud over my head because I was messaging Gabby. I was on leave. I was talking about work with her. I was like, oh no. But no, a Black Phone. Oh, what a great! Like now, I want to watch it. I'm like, damn, I gotta go back and watch that one again. It's such a solid flick.
Oh, sorry. You might hear my dog going ape shit in the background. Yeah, it's starting to storm over here.
We're all good. There's gonna be some background noise, but it is what it is. We're punk. It's fine. I'm just gonna keep saying that until people just leave us alone. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say about Black Phone? Because again, I definitely dominated that conversation.
No, it's fine. Yeah, like I said, it didn't scare me, but it was just very, very intense, and I like the premise of all the other kids being kidnapped. That they helped him, like their spirits helped him escape through their trial and error.
Yeah. And it has a really beautiful ending. Like, I mean, look, it's no surprise. I've talked about this time and time again. I'm a big movie crier. Like that movie made me cry. Like that ending, I was like, oh my god! Like I wasn't expecting such a heartfelt, beautiful ending in a horror film. But like to see that ending, and like especially again, like because that girl is so good, and to see her reunited with her brother. Spoilers for a movie that's over 6 months old. I was in tears. I was like, and I think it was the dad in me being like, oh my god, like it all got sorted. But like that movie, that story doesn't have a happy ending because their dad's still gonna beat them like in 2 days time. Like it's a really weird. Like it's really well done. Like Scott Derrickson did a great job. Like I don't think he's made a bad film. Like he's just solid. Great storyteller.
It was intense. Like at the start of the movie when the kids are in the kitchen and the daughter accidentally shuts the bread holder too hard, and you can see the dad physically like just trying to hold his anger back over such a little thing.
Yeah,
and you immediately establish like, okay, this guy's a piece of shit.
And I don't think he even think he's that. He's just he's gone through so much loss. Like his daughter's got this weird power, which they don't really lean too heavily on. Like they could have made it a real supernatural film, but they kept it pretty grounded considering she has a bit of a power. But I think the kind of craziness surrounding that, and the fact that did his wife die? Is that what happened, or she went insane or something? I can't remember. But something happened to his wife, and I was just like, I don't think he's a bad guy. He's a 70s dad, which is not an excuse. And he's gone through so much trauma, he doesn't know how to handle it. And the only way he can exert his rage is physically, and the only people around him are his children, which is a really conflicting character. It's like, because there are moments of love in their relationships as well, but you're just like, why are you being so horrible? Like, it's such a complicated and complex character. But yeah, I'm not defending him beating his children.
Well,
I think that's what 70s dads did.
Yeah, it's a real, and also like they've obviously lower economic background, like they're very poor and things like that, and it's not the most affluent neighborhoods. There's a lot of contributing factors, but yeah, there's a lot of complexity in that flick. It was way better and had way more in it than a film of its genre deserves. And that's not to kind of talk down horror, but you can make a fun, effective horror film for next to nothing with no context, and people will be happy. And Scott Derrickson really elevated and put so much into it. Oh, that was a bit snobby of me. Oh, I think I've lost Gabby and Andre.
thank you for being so patient.
Alrighty, we're back. I resumed the recording just as Andre said, thank you for being patient. We're thanking you, dear audience, because we've been having some real tech issues tonight. 37 degrees and thunderstorms is not being very supportive, but I was just looking online. It looks like most of the storms are done now, so we should be pretty sweet. But if we must endure throughout the rest of the night, we will. Gabby, I think we're up to your list. We're just talking about Black Phone and really digging it. I'm sure that I've resumed it in the middle of a conversation, but that's fine. We'll just move forward. Black Phone, good movie on the list. Gabby, what was your next movie that was not seen by Andre or on Andre's list?
The only other one that I have on my list that Andre didn't watch was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
And I watched this last night actually after hearing both you and Nick talk about it.
What a movie.
And yeah, I in the first sort of 20 minutes, I sort of thought I knew what was going to happen. And it, I was a little bit right, but then I also wasn't at all.
Mm.
And, God, I really, really enjoyed the movie. It was really beautifully done. And, for a concept there's of the multiverse that it's been done a few times before, I think it was done in a way that was different, so it was still interesting. I loved the costuming and the makeup for Joe Tabuki, or really it's just Joy.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, so
I'll be honest, I've seen this movie once about 7 months ago, and I loved it. It went on my list that day, but I do need to rewatch it.
Yeah, so Joy being the daughter, I loved her costuming and makeup for all her different multiverse existences.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved Waymond, and I thought it was so cute that his name was Waymond and not Raymond.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know much about traditional Chinese names, but I know that Waymond is not one.
No.
But he was so sweet, and in every universe he was so sweet. And that line when they're in that universe where they weren't together, saying that he would love to do
anything to do taxes. Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
And I just thought, what a sweetie. And that got me. I was tearing up sort of towards the end of it. I just was so emotional, and but there was also some really funny things,
oh yeah,
that fight scene with the dildos.
I was waiting for that to come. I don't think Nick Lee mentioned it, but yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and then also the butt plug thing.
Yeah.
That was just, I could not stop laughing. And I was watching it. It was kind of late at night. My dad wakes up really early, so I had to sort of stifle my laughter a bit, but I was really cackling a lot during those. And yeah, you sort of really feel for the main character because she's just like, I guess, so unhappy in herself and just always wondering, what if I did this? Like, what if I did this? Or, what could happen? And she gets to see it all.
Mm.
But at the end, she sort of realizes that she needs to make the best out of what she's got.
Mm.
And all the little googly eyes, like, I was watching sort of like a recap this morning, and I didn't notice how many like circular imagery was in the movie.
Yep.
It's all tying into like the bagel.
Yep.
But yeah, like, I really liked it, and before I'd seen it, I was talking to you, like, just sort of in passing about how it had recently won some awards at the Golden Globes, and I never really bought into the awards part of the movie scene because I just thought, like, what does a bunch of like executives and stuffy old people, and quite frankly racist people, like, what do they know, and why should their opinion matter on what I enjoy or what people enjoy? One of my favorite movies, and like a movie that I quote to Andre all the time because he's also seen it and he also loves it, is The Master of Disguise, and famously it is reviewed terribly.
Oh, I've seen that one. It would shock you to know how often I think of, am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
All the time. I always say it. And like that, yeah, like I said, that movie is reviewed terribly and it certainly would not have appeared on any Oscar nominations. But like, just for that reason, I just thought like I don't care about that. But I was really excited to see that they did win awards and they did get recognized for it, because everyone in that movie did a brilliant job.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to go back to Master of Disguise because I also quote, "Oh, ciao, Italian. Listen to the Italian man." That's another one in my head constantly, like that. Totally enough with the Turtle Club.
Moisture.
Yeah, I love Moisture. Yeah, like that's a flick I saw in theaters with my aunt. She took us, and at the time I was like, "This is not pinnacle cinema," but I was at the age where it was dumb enough that I could dig it, and like those quotes have been burned into my retinas and my skull. And isn't his last name Disguisey? Isn't that?
Yeah. It's just like all the things I just said, like,
So
I don't want to be the Malcolm in your middle.
Listen here, back straight boy.
Oh, I'm gonna go back and watch it. Like, I know it's never, like, it's not gonna hold up, but like I've got to go back because some of those quotes are genius. I'm on board with you with the award thing. Like, I was huge into the. I think I talked about this with Nick on his episode, but I used to be way into it, and then recently I've just been like, I just don't think I thought I cared, but I haven't watched it in a couple of years, so I mustn't care. But it is nice to see movies you like get acknowledged, like, even if it's that kind of like fake inclusion. Like, you see it every couple of years. Like, Get Out got included and got a couple of wins, and like this one's getting, and like, even though I'm not convinced it's genuine, it is just nice. But you know what? Like, even if it isn't genuine, even if it's a token one, it's nice to see people who worked hard on something unique get a bit of appreciation, because it's so easy to just give it to the same three movies, and that's what they generally do. So it is nice to see them get acknowledged and get some sort of recognition, even if I don't necessarily agree with how the awards are done.
I agree. And I don't know if you know or if you saw this, but they all were wearing googly eyes at the Golden Globes.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, like I can't remember his name, but Waymond.
Yeah, he's Short Round from Indiana Jones, and he was in Goonies.
And he was in the Goonies. Data from the Goonies.
I think it's Keiki. Oh, I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm so glad he's back.
Right, and so, and like, he made a really like sweet speech as well, and I just thought, like, yay for you! I'm really happy for you.
My favorite photo from the award season so far is him standing next to Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like 40 years later, they get to take a photo together. And I think he's in the new Indiana Jones film as well, if I remember correctly, which is great. Like,
is that the one that's due to come out this year?
yeah, the Dial of Time or something. I can't remember what it's called now. But
Is it still with Harrison Ford?
yeah, Harrison Ford. And James Mangold is directing. So I think it's the first one without Spielberg or George Lucas. But James Mangold, who famously did Logan, which is brilliant. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Okay, well.
So are the last 8 films all on your list? The same, like not necessarily the same place, but these are all films that you share on your list. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything else, yeah, we've seen together.
Nice one. Great. I can't wait to hear what's next.
Oh, actually, there's one more
Oh, cool. I like that as well.
on Andre's list.
Oh, does he have one extra because we added Black Phone?
No.
No, it's one on my list, but it's not on Gabby's list.
So does that mean Gabby has a different film, or have you shortchanged your list, Gabby?
No, it's because I feel like Andre changed his.
Yeah, because we added Black Phone. So does that mean Andre has a list of 11? I don't mind. Like admin on the podcast.
Honestly, I don't know, but we're gonna go with it.
Yeah,
do it. Just add it as a 11th film. I don't.
Oh, actually, you know why? We did see this together. It's just not on my list.
Oh, cool.
So Doctor Strange.
Yes, nice.
Yeah. That it was different, man. It wasn't what I was expecting. Because we didn't see it until a while after it was released, and we know we know it got a lot of mixed reviews. But since it was directed by Sam Raimi, which I thought was really interesting, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a solid go. I wasn't expecting any event like Avengers level cinematic kind of thing, but I thought it was very different. People gave it a lot of flack for what it was, but it felt very Sam Raimi in the the wackiness of it.
There's his fingerprints all over it. Like that scene where he like possesses the ghosts and they become his wings and stuff like that. Like that is the most Sam Raimi thing I've ever seen. I am in a similar boat where I watched it and I liked it, and then a few months later I was like, man, Marvel's having an off year. But then I rewatched it, I'm like, nope, Doctor Strange is brilliant and it's on my top 10 list. So I think it's one of those ones that like you just need to be reminded of how good it is, because yeah, it's not gonna be for everyone, and I think expectations are so high with that universe now, like that everything has to be the next Avengers film. It's like, no, like it doesn't have to be. My only criticism of that film is that the multiverse could have been madder. We really only went to one other universe, 2 other universes, so we could have done more there. But I love it as well.
I liked it. I think because it did go for a bit of a while, I felt like
it's literally one of the shortest ones out there.
I don't know. To me, it felt long to me because I just didn't really understand what was going on a lot of the time.
That's fair.
I felt like a little bit like Tina, because she said that she didn't know who the sort of bad guy was until halfway through, and like I did, but I didn't understand why.
Wanda.
Yeah, because I hadn't watched WandaVision. So Andre sort of explained it to me before we watched the movie. And so I sort of got the point, but I also sympathize with her a little bit.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I was like, well, like
she's a really
one thing. God, you guys, like, she can't have anything.
She's a really sympathetic villain. WandaVision's brilliant, and it's such an easy watch. Like you can knock it out in a day because the first 4 episodes are like 20 minutes long, and I think only the last episode 2 are about an hour. So you can knock it out really easily. It's really fun, and we'll explain a lot for you. But I think Wanda is one of the stronger villains because we spent so much time getting to know her as a good person than just to kind of watch her snap, and to lose it. And from what I understand, she's still got things to do in the movies. It's like it's kind of ambiguous what happens at the end, and it does sound like she's going to come back, which is great. Because we need more of Elizabeth Olsen. She's fantastic.
She is really good.
Yeah, spoiler alert for like, anyone who hasn't watched WandaVision. But like a different version of Vision is alive. So I'm sure they'd have to meet up at some point.
Well, he's got something. Vision Quest is coming at some point as well. Like I don't know if it's a mini series or a special, but there's a Vision thing coming, and there's all sorts of rumors about characters showing up in the new Captain America. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff coming. I just want them to take their time. Like I've loved everything Marvel have done over the last 2 years, but there's been a lot of content. I'm cool for them to slow down just a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and there's for me personally, it's been a quantity or like of a quality kind of thing. Like, nothing's been bad, but they've just been pumping out so much. Whether phase 1, 2, and 3, again, and even 4, it's like they've been so methodical. They've been intertwined so perfectly. It's after Endgame. They didn't really. It feels like they didn't really know where to go from there, which is fair enough. I mean, they were going for 10 years. They knew exactly what they were going for, like, and what to reach at the end. But now that they've crossed that line, like, and they want to extend the road even further, it just feels a little bit jumbled with all the television shows and the movies.
Yeah, I do agree. I don't think. How do I say this? I don't think Phase 4 has been the mess that people think it is. People have been saying Phase 4 has been without directional purpose, and like from Phase 1, you knew exactly what was going on. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Thanos is not even mentioned until I'm pretty sure the first Avengers film, when you kind of see toward that the post credit scene that he was behind the scenes. He's never mentioned till Avengers, and that phase went for 5 years or 4 years. Sorry, 4 years. Phase 2, like your big bad was Ultron. He isn't mentioned until Age of Ultron. And even then, Thanos is teased a little bit in Guardians and a little bit in Age of Ultron. Like, it takes a long time to get to Thanos. We've had more time with Kang than we have had with Thanos.
Yeah.
Like, he has like that 15-minute monologue at the end of season 1 of Loki. People, I think, just forget. But like, season 4 had a very clear path to me. We're introducing 2 concepts. We're introducing the multiverse. That's what your Spider-Man's doing. That's what your Doctor Strange is doing. And we're also passing the torch because we've lost a lot of our heroes. So we get a new Black Panther, spoilers. We get a new Thor, kind of spoilers. We get a new Black Widow. We get a new team of these ancient beings in the Eternals. The Eternals is brilliant. The Eternals is one of those films that gets better with each watch. We get multiple Spider-Man. We've got a new Hawkeye. We've got all these new characters. It's been a real passing of the torch. We've got a new Hulk. Everyone who was in Phase 1, we're finding replacements. We even got a new Iron Man. She showed up in Black Panther as well. So there's been 2 kind of prongs there, multiverse and kind of passing of the torch, and they'll tie everything together. I've got complete faith in Marvel, and if you think back to Thor: The Dark World, which is commonly referred to as the worst Marvel movie of all time, I disagree. I think it's secretly brilliant, but most people don't like that film. Look what they did with that movie. By the time we got to Endgame, they made that movie relevant and important and emotional. Like, they gave it some context. So they'll tie all those loose ends. Like, Phase 4 will be really important in a couple of years' time. It's just they're just building.
Oh yeah, like they're definitely they've been neat in the sense of like you said, they're passing on the torch. They're introducing new people because the old characters that we've been used to for a decade, they're moving on. Or they're either dead, like in the universe, or going to die. But yeah, I think because it's a mixture of the television shows and the movies.
Yeah, I agree with
this
that.
is a bit jumbled. Like a lot of people will only watch the movies, and they won't pay attention to the TV shows. Like Wanda's what's the word? Her drive to get her kids back in Doctor Strange is kind of a if without watching WandaVision for context,
Yeah,
it's so briefly mentioned. Like, when people were going into that movie, like, wait, Wanda had kids?
yeah, and that's something that I wanted for so long when they were doing the Netflix shows. I'm like, bring Daredevil into the movies, which we are getting now. We did get him in a movie, but I was like, bring him in. And then I remember, I think it was Solo. I saw Solo, a Star Wars story, and they brought in Darth Maul at the end, and I was like, why is he here? He's dead. Like, why is he? And then someone explained to me, oh no, he's back in the TV shows. I was like, oh, that's why they're not crossing things over, because you need to watch everything to really understand it. And then I thought Marvel had done a pretty good job, but you make a really good point. I'm in for Marvel, so I'm going to watch everything, but not everyone is. And it is an oversaturation to a certain point, because I'll be honest, like when I do my rewatches, I don't include the TV shows. Like that's an extra 6 to 10 hours on a very simple rewatch. I'm like, I know enough. Like I'll probably go back and rewatch WandaVision, but I can't say the same thing about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is brilliant. But like, all I need to know is at the end of it, like, Falcon becomes Captain America. I'm like, cool, all right, no worries. That's I don't know. It's more nuanced than that, but like in terms of story progression, that's all I really need to know. So yeah, it's just a lot of extra work in quotation marks.
Do you want to know a sad fact? But before we wrap this one up,
Yeah, go for it.
The actor that played Daredevil, I forget his real
Charlie
name.
Cox.
Charlie Cox, that's it. So some celebrities will go into random cinemas like at random times and watch their own movies and just to see how the crowd reacts.
I think I know the story you're going to tell, but yeah, go on.
Yeah. He went into a random cinema, watching Spider-Man No Way Home when he makes an appearance, and apparently like no one in the cinema like batted an eye.
Yeah, or like he was.
Which sucked because when I saw that, I physically gasped and pointed at the fucking screen.
Me too. I knew because I'd seen leaked images, which of course, nothing was confirmed, but like we've all seen the Andrew Garfield set photos and stuff. Like the worst kept secret in Hollywood was those guest stars. But I still gasped. I was like, it's Daredevil. But like apparently, he heard people like, who's that?
I'm so sad, man. Like, oh.
But he's back, and we're getting a lot of. Apparently, he's going to be like the connective tissue for a lot of shows. We had him in She-Hulk, and that was my favorite part of She-Hulk was just seeing Daredevil. We had to wait till the second last episode, but we got him. Yeah. So they're doing some good stuff. It's just been they're just rebuilding.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, great movie. What is next on your shared list?
So we both had Prey.
Prey?
Yeah.
Great. No one's talked about this on the show yet.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of both the Alien and the Predator series, and then like I liked Alien versus Predator as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was quite interested to see how this one would work. And I liked her, like the main character. I liked her story, that it was sort of like a growth thing, and she was so ambitious and all she wanted to do was prove herself the whole time, and that she wasn't just like a girl, the gatherer, because that's sort of the gender role that was placed on her, I guess. And all she wanted to do was prove herself, and you see all the things that she has to go through just to get there. And at the start, nobody believes her about what she thinks is going on. And there was a bit where towards the end, like I was a bit scared that she wasn't going to win. But I think that like one thing that those films do have in common is like, okay, like someone always wins.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, how scary can you really be? Like, obviously you're really scary, but how scary?
No, absolutely. But no, I think it was a very effective film, and I'm sure Andre's got some thoughts as well. It didn't quite make my top 10 list. I did like it, but by the time I got to it, everyone had talked about how great it was. So again, I was like, I'm sure it's good. It does unfortunately have maybe the worst poster I've ever seen for a movie in my life.
It was a little bit like clip art.
Yeah, the green paint one. Like the other posters are fine, but that green paint one looks like it's just been like digitally added later. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
What did you think of Prey, Andre?
Well, talking about the poster, when because it popped up on Netflix, and that's where Gabby and I watched it on, and I
think
Disney Plus.
Oh, sorry, Disney Plus.
That's all right.
And I had no idea that was something that was a Predator film. I had no clue. until somebody told me about it. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Um, the way the predator was portrayed, and he was using different weaponry from what we've seen him use in other films, like the laser's still the laser cannon thing's still there, but
Mhm.
but even that shield that he uses to uh decapitate those guys is great. I loved that they still talked in their native language a lot instead of just English.
Yeah, and I think there was a Native American translation, so you could watch it in the language entirely. They did
Yeah,
a version of it as well, which was really cool to see.
yeah. And the protagonist was great.
Mhm.
I like this may sound a bit weird, but you'll get some female protagonists that kind of shove it in your face, like Captain Marvel. It was very like she was very like Iron Woman, hear me roar.
Mhm.
But with this one, we have a strong female protagonist that does a lot more walking than talking, and it really, really shows.
I was
Um,
talking about this with someone recently. It might have even been with Nick on his episode because I was talking about Black Panther, and I won't get into too much in case it shows up on your list. But because I love Captain Marvel, but that's kind of the go-to easy example of really leaning into it. Like, but I think that film's great, and I really love her in the role. But like, it's not being shy about where this is a strong movie, a strong female movie. But then Black Panther was just naturally and organically a film about women because
yeah,
that's how the and I was like, man, you just did this so well. Like I never felt like you know hitting me over the head. It never felt politically driven. Even there's a lot of politics as well. It's just like these are the leftover characters from the previous film, and they're putting the pieces of their lives back together, and it was just so well done. And I agree with you on Prey. It's the same thing. It's because I was talking to a mutual friend of mine, and Gabby's, and he's a bit of a history buff, and he was like, "Oh, I'll check it out, but I don't know, like the Comanches or whatever, um, whichever delineation of Native Americans was." He goes, they didn't have female warriors and all that sort of thing. So, I don't know, like I might be kind of taken out of it. And I remember I said to him, I'm like, well, what if the plot point is she's a rebel? Like, what if she's just a rebellious young woman and like she doesn't like the way things are done? Like, will that suit you? And he goes, yeah, I guess that'd be fine. And then he watched it before me, and he goes, "Oh yeah, she turned out to be like a rebellious character, so it was all right." And I was just like, "All right." I just, who I'm talking about, Gabby, I'm sure.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it's really well executed. I love the primitive version of the Predator, like just seeing
yeah.
them, even though we've seen Predator in multiple incarnations, just to be like, oh yeah, like they would have had a starting point or a less advanced point at some point as well. Um, for me, I think the moment the film really kicks off is the ambush scene, when they're using the trappers as bait. That's
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
the film so it takes a while. Like it is slow. It's never boring, but it does take a little while to kind of get to where a point where I'm like, all right, now I'm in. But from that scene, I'm like, yep, you are ticking all my boxes. It's a great film, and yeah, no one's talked about it on the show yet either. So I'm glad you guys brought it up.
And I thought it was so interesting. He's the apex predator, but he doesn't attack anyone that isn't a threat to him because he's there to hunt.
Yeah, it's a game for him.
Exactly. He's not there to pick the cherries. He's there to kill something that will fight back.
I think this is the way you do Predator films moving forward because the Predator franchise has
Absolutely.
been very kind of has had very mixed feelings. I really like everyone. The first one's a classic. I quite like the third one with Adrian Brody. I know people feel mixed feelings about that one. But I think it's quite fun, and I haven't seen the one after it, Predators, yet. But I think moving forward, just take the Predator and just drop him in a different country in a different time period. Just do like, uh, you know, while they're building the Great Wall of China. Like there's
I
a
was
movie.
literally just thinking that.
Drop the Predator like on a pirate ship in the mid Atlantic. Like just throw the Predator in different time periods.
Drop
Like
the Predator
in
on
the,
Genghis Khan. Like,
drop the Predator during like the Black Plague and witches and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like that's how you do it. Like why not? Because it is silly, but that's fine. I think that really like
drop the Predator on Napoleon.
yeah.
Just
I
watch some
mean, look,
midget
I,
ass.
I don't know if I talked about it on this show or whether it was on my previous show, Past the Remote, but I pitched an idea. We were pitching how we would do a Harry Potter film because Tina and I kind of had mixed feelings about Fantastic Beasts, and like, well, my go-to is show us a wizarding war where the wizarding community is involved in World War II fighting Nazis. Like, do that. Like, that's a good movie idea.
that'd be interesting.
Or
Well,
like,
I'm not sure how many parallels you've read about the Harry Potter universe and the
Yeah.
Holocaust, but there is a lot.
of course, or like, or my other one was like drop, drop do a Harry Potter film or like a Wizarding World film where they're fighting off the Klan, like, or in the Wild West or something. Like, just something completely different. Like, and that's the. I mean, look, I'm very positive on the show, and I have mixed feelings on Fantastic Beasts, but I just think there's more interesting stories to tell than the same story 60 years earlier.
I tend to agree.
And that's what I'm saying with the Predator. Like, just throw the Predator in, like, like we've seen it can be done. Put the Predator like with Jesus. Like, just I don't know. Like, he would never attack him because he's the ultimate pacifist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like in the the Roman Colosseum, like Gladiator 2, Gladiator versus Predator.
That's actually how Gladiator 2 is going to come about.
Yeah, like Maximus gets like resurrected using like Predator technology because they're like he was the ultimate champion. We need the ultimate, prey, that kind of thing.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Like a Predator versus Troy. Let's get all the cast of Troy, and the Predator's going like Hector.
Achilles.
Yeah, there's like, I don't know. I'm getting silly, but what I'm saying is that there's so many options now with that franchise. They've breathed new life into it, so do something with it.
And yeah, I hope they stick to that formula.
I agree. I mean, clearly I just did like 10 minutes on it, so I clearly
That's what they should do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop with the Predator jokes, but yeah, get on it. Great film.
Okay, so the next one that we both seen or have seen is Avatar: The Way of Water.
Alrighty, so this is a movie. I mean, as I said, and was shocking Andre earlier, I have not seen, but we talked about it in quite a bit of depth when Nick was on. So I'm keen to hear your thoughts on
it. Yeah. So I really liked it. I've seen it twice. And I guess that was probably due just to circumstance because Andre couldn't see it when I originally booked it, so I went with my dad instead. And then we ended up seeing it a couple of days later together. But I wouldn't have asked him to see it again if I didn't want to watch it again.
It's a long film, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's big.
And I think I did like it better the second time I watched it. It's not like I watched it the first time and I was like, oh, this is crap. But I thought that straight after watching it for the first time, I was like, I think that I should have watched the first one first because I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. So I felt like I didn't have as much appreciation for how many changes and like how much the visuals had been improved on the first one. I will agree with Nick in that like the story is not that different to the first one where like, the main character / characters are like new and trying to fit in and there's a problem that they got to solve and come together and that be that. But I really enjoyed the like the raw emotion that you do see towards the end. Something sad happens and like I think I cried like 2 or 3 times in the movie, but like that part it just
Who cries in movies?
Yeah.
Only me in a movie.
but like I don't know, you just felt like it was a real like raw reaction. And it wasn't like, this is going to sound so stupid, but you didn't feel like it was because the Na'vi are supposed to be like, they act like they're not like the human race is the superior race. Well, that's what the sky people say. But so, it's not like that reaction that you see is like a primitive one. And I say that like, I don't think that they're primitive. I don't think that they're less or whatever. They're made up people. But it would be the same reaction to the situation if you were to go through it, if I were to go through it. And, you know, all the new environment that they're in is really interesting, and how they come to adapt is really lovely. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Now, I just want to correct something. When I said I love the Avatar series, I was talking about the animated series.
Yes. No, I'm aware. Yeah.
Yep. The
Last Airbender, not the
Correct. Yeah. Avatar. Yeah. Like the two Avatar movies are good. After going back and rewatching the first one before watching the second, Gabby's right in the sense that the story premise is almost the same. You know, down to certain scenes. Like,
okay,
yeah. Like, well, in the first movie, you see God, I've already forgotten the main character's name.
Jake Sully.
Jake Sully.
Yeah. Him.
Even I know that, and I haven't seen it. You better not. You better not spoil a 14-year-old movie for me.
He's running through the forest, being chased by a creature much larger than him, and he gets caught in a cramped space while the creature's trying to get him. The same thing happens in the second movie, except it's underwater and it's to his son. You know.
Yeah.
You know, they're still being chased by the same villain.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same premise as colonization, except in the first one they depicted Native Americans, and in this one they appear to be depicting the Kiwi Maori culture.
Yes, and I've heard some criticisms of that, where they're like, you had 10 years to create a new culture and you just appropriated. All the reviews I've read have been glowing, but it's been more about the technical side of things than the story, which is fine. Like you were just saying, it's the same villain as the first one. I'm like, yeah, that is lazy. I've just watched like 7 X-Men film in the row, and Magneto's the villain in every single one. And so it's hard for me to criticize. I'm like, yeah, I mean, the Joker's cool though, so he could show up 10 times. But yeah, there's nothing. I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I guess it can be a bit lazy, but it also provides a consistent story, I suppose. So once I've seen them, I'll give you guys my review. I'll be like, you know what, you were right, lazy.
It's not don't get me wrong. It's not a bad film, and I think the appeal of the first one was it looked so visually stunning for its time, which was such the main draw. Like, it was a beautiful, out of this world piece of cinema that drew everyone together. But I think because of how far CGI has gone now, it's still a fantastic looking movie.
The trailer was gorgeous. I remember we saw the trailer. It might have been when we went and saw Doctor Strange. It was either that or Thor. Tina and I went and saw, and the trailer for Avatar came on, and I leaned over to him, I'm like, look, this flick is not for me at all, but gee, it's a stunning looking movie. Like, it looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, and that's it. Like, that's the main appeal of how beautiful the movie looks. And the premise is still there. It's still good, but I guess it just can't capture the magic of the first one because the novelty of it's gone.
Sorry, I stepped on you. Sorry, I didn't mean to that.
No, you go. Yeah.
I was just going to say, the first one launched 3D, like it reintroduced 3D technology for a couple of years, whereas, like, this film looks stunning, but and like, obviously, like, from what I understand, there's a scene that was described to me where, like, a boy drags a Na'vi out of the water, and the Na'vi doesn't exist, and the water doesn't exist, and nothing exists except for the boy. Like, 90% of the film is like, it's an animated movie at this stage. So that's what it is. And everything has to be created, and that's where the kind of the genius and awe comes in. It's like, all of this is manufactured, and look how realistic it is, which is brilliant. But in terms of, I think this might be the first film where they haven't really taken a step and launched, kind of cinema into a new direction. Like, not that that's required. Like,
No,
not that like that. I'm like, well, James Cameron didn't deliver this time, but like, yeah, I just don't know what the spectacle or like, you said it yourself, like Avatar, like when it first came out, was a juggernaut. It was like, you've never seen anything like this. You've never seen a film shot like this. You've never seen animation like this. You've never seen 3D like this. Like, everything is for the first time. And this one has taken us over, almost 15 years, and it sounds like, well, the story's kind of the same, and like it looks better, but like that's about all.
Yeah.
But I'm always ready to be impressed, and I might go with my arms crossed, but I'll always give it everything a go. So I just that's all I've kind of heard about it.
Oh, dude, if you get like, if you're gonna watch it, you watch the Avatar films for the spectacle.
Yeah.
Again, people can shit on it, but they cannot deny how beautiful that film is, and that's that scene that Gabby brought up before, that sad scene. I'm not a movie crier, but that scene did. I was almost tearing up because it was very sad.
Look, I'll tell you what, you guys are selling me on it the best so far. Like, you guys are really selling me on it. Well, I'm like, maybe I will give this flick a go. Maybe I will go around and get it. So you guys are giving me a good sell on it. So it's there's enough in there. And like, crying is a big thing. You're like, oh, you'll cry in the third act. I'm like, great. I'll bring my tissues. I can't wait to cry. So you guys are selling me on it, even though I have been a little bit critical. I'm definitely keen on checking it out now. So
I'll briefly mention this. I've only cried in 3 pieces of media. The first one's Click at the end.
Oh my God! What a heartbreaking finale! Yes,
with Adam Sandler, like when he's trying to call out to his son, and I can't remember how old I was, but that had me fucking bawling.
It makes no sense, that ending, but it destroys everyone who watches it. Like, it's so it's crazy. What a crazy movie!
Toy Story 3.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that caught me so hard. Oh my Lord!
I cried in the opening credits. And I was sitting went with my wife, and we were sitting next to each other, and then next to me was like a young boy and his mother, and like I think it was in the final scene, so not the incinerator scene, which is brutal, but the scene where he hands the toys over to the girl and kind of like, hey, these are really important to me. Now you're taking over, and you need to give them a good home, and he's kind of explaining that. That destroyed me. And I mean, I cried in the other scenes as well, but that one destroyed me. And at one point, the little boy looked over and he leans to his mom and goes, "Why is that man crying?" And I was like, "Shut up, you weren't there. I've been there since '94.
Yeah, fuck you, kid. What do you know?
But yeah, so that film is also, that'll make you cry.
And
the third,
it's not like it's not a movie, but and some people won't know this, but when the 10th Doctor, David regenerates, like, and he says, "I don't want to go."
Yes, that was the first time I cried. One of the first times I cried at something in front of my wife, and she laughed her head off. She thought it was so funny, because I was ugly crying. It was just like,
so was I, man. I was on the ground. After
and she introduced me to the show, but that ending is so powerful. He's back, by the way, David.
I know. I saw the trailer and I was like,
we watched the regen scene the other night. I'm like, I'm in. I haven't watched the show in like a good night. It's like pretty much since he left. I like Karen Gillan and stuff like that, but the show just kind of took on a different journey that wasn't for me. But I'm back for him. But those are, if you're gonna cry in 3 moments, those are pretty good ones.
Yeah, they got me. But yeah, aside from that, I hold back the tears, my guy.
I was like, what are the movies I've cried at this week? I cry constantly. I was like, maybe he'll say, the ending of season 2 of Daredevil. That's pretty emotional. I'm like, James, you're the only person I know who's cried at the end of season 2 of Daredevil. So probably not that. I cry all the time. I love crying in movies and TV because I don't cry in real life.
I'm clearly all over the place. I will cut it down to a lack of sleep, but I realized that there's one on here that I saw without Andre.
It'll be the counterpart to Doctor Strange. Jump into it now. I left it blank, so I'm like, I'm sure Gabby's got a movie.
Oh, okay. So it was The Menu.
Oh. You didn't see this, Andre?
No, I haven't seen it. I've heard people rave on about it, but no, I haven't seen it.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about it without spoilers. It's just gonna be hard because I watched this a few nights ago, and it wasn't on my top 10 list, and I kicked something off my list because the menu was brilliant.
Yeah. So I went into it being like, oh, well, I hadn't really heard much about it. I'd just seen little clips, like ads and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. But I really like. Is it like Anya Taylor Joy? Is that her name?
She is an absolute.
Or Joy Taylor? I don't know.
Anya Taylor-Joy. She is one of the best. Like, there are a couple. I was talking to my buddy in the US today. There are like 6 British actresses out there right now who are slaying Hollywood, and it's Anya Taylor-Joy, it's Florence Pugh, it's Imogen Poots, it's Thomasin McKenzie, all this young Hollywood talent just like destroying. Mia Goth's another one. Anya Taylor-Joy is brilliant, and is my absolute favorite part of that film.
Yeah, so I really liked her, and I liked sort of how we come to know why she's there, who she is.
I had no idea. Look, when they revealed what it was, I was like, oh, I should have seen that coming. But what a nice little twist.
Yeah, and then how it's sort of connected, and why they're all there, and and then like usually in these types of scenarios, you feel sorry for someone or a few people, and I didn't.
I didn't even feel sorry for Anya Taylor-Joy, because I was like, and not in it like I'm like, well, she deserved it too, but like her character's so clever, and the way what she does at the end. I'm trying to be ambiguous because Andre hasn't seen it, and Andre, I know you love horror, and like it's not really a horror film; it's more of a kind of thriller mystery.
It certainly wasn't a horror, because I watched it while I was doing my makeup, so like
it was marketed as a horror film, but it is more of the kind of a mystery thriller. Like you'll dig it just because it's so out there. Like when the movie turns, there is a moment where like it's got a kind of an unsettling vibe the entire time. But when I think it's the 4th course, when the sous chef comes out, like that's when the film takes a turn, and you're like, Jesus Christ, what is this movie?
Oh wait, hang on a minute.
But the way she what she does at the end, I'm trying to be very ambiguous because I don't want to give away what she does at the end. I was like, that's genius.
Yeah.
Because Ralph Fiennes, obviously his character, like he responds to it. And you're like, of course he would. Of course he would respond to it the way he does. The cast is superb. Like Nicholas Hoult is so deliciously pretentious.
I hated him. I hated him so much. But I know that's like he did such a great job of playing that. Because like
just trying to figure out their relationship as well. Because I was like, because at first he's so like kind of polite and eager and like apologetic, and then like he obviously like the way his character goes. He also has maybe the best opening line of a film I saw last year, which was like, put out the cigarette, you're gonna ruin your palate. I was just like, from that moment, like that's the opening line of the film. I'm like, oh my god, this is exactly what I want to watch.
I was like, God, you're a wanker. Like, but I guess that's the whole point. And like, just couldn't even follow a simple rule. And I was just like, oh gosh. And then he was just like acting like, I don't know. Just acting like a bit of a cock, to be honest.
I guess what we'll say, we should, for those who haven't seen it, we'll give away a little bit of the premise. Basically, there's this exclusive restaurant on an island, kind of in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know if they say where it is really, and it's run by this really famous chef who like kind of established himself. He's a bit of a Gordon Ramsay type, but a little bit more
more like that Colin guy, I reckon,
from MasterChef.
Yeah,
like he's kind of like, he's very regimented and serious, but he also has like an air of kind of like perfectionism about him. He seems very erudite, and everything. And food is life. Like it's just like, we live to serve. Like we need to honor the food because the food provides for it. Like it's really interesting, really fascinating. And basically everyone goes here. It's very exclusive, and ultimately, only like really rich, exclusive, snobby people can get in there, and then things kind of take a turn. And that's about as much as we can really give away without spoiling it.
Yeah. And I think the only thing that I would say that like I found it hard, and this is purely personal, it's got nothing to do with his performance, is I struggle to hear him as anyone other than Voldemort.
Yes, that can be tricky, but I thought he did a really good job. I didn't really see Voldemort in it, but although obviously I did see the sinister side of him.
But it's like it's really hard for me, and like but like it was almost like a mix between Red Dragon and Voldemort, like his characters and the way that he speaks and the weird eeriness of it all. And I was like, your characters are molding into one for me, and that's purely personal, like because I am quite attached to both those. I wouldn't say like Harry Potter's a franchise, but I wouldn't say, you know,
Oh, yeah, Silence of the Lambs.
I
You
guess,
got
yeah,
4 or
I'm
5 movies
quite
there.
attached to both those franchises. So I think that's why it might be hard for me to sort of separate the characters. And it's because he does it so well.
It's an easy watch. I think it's like 90 minutes, maybe just a little bit
Yeah,
longer.
yeah,
It's on
yeah.
Disney Plus,
not-
so if people have Disney Plus, you've already got access to it. It's fun. Like it's
Yeah.
darkly like it is a dark film and it does get violent and the violence is quite confronting at times, but it's got a really good sense of humor about it. Like I was talking to my wife because she came home while I was watching it and she's, what are you watching? Like, oh, it's called The Menu and like this film I've been looking forward to. And I thought, I will say this, and this is not really a spoiler, but I thought it was a cannibal film. Like that's the way I saw something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought it was a cannibal film, so I was like, oh, and it's not that. So if people think The Menu is a cannibal film, it's not.
No.
It's so much better than that. Like you could have done that, and I would have been fine with it. But what they did was so unexpected.
I thought that scene with the angel thing. I thought that he was going to come as a course.
Yes.
But it didn't. So I was like, oh, okay.
Cool. I was
cool.
also waiting for like the James Bond villain, like shark out of the water or something. I was waiting for something way more graphic than what happened, but it was just it may be a perfect film. Like I just have nothing to criticize this film on. It was so enjoyable.
It was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah. The Menu's great. I'm so glad it's on your list. I'm so glad that I got to watch it. Unfortunately, it was after on my list, but I've vetoed Lightyear now, and The Menu will slip somewhere in the top 5 because it's great. Watch it, Andre. It's such an easy watch. You'll love it.
All right, I'm into it.
You've been told. Hopefully, we didn't spoil anything. I think we're pretty good about spoilers.
Yeah. So the next one that does come up that we definitely did both see is Bullet Train.
What a flick! No one's talked about this one this year either.
Oh, so good.
I really liked it. I liked all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So like each one had their own little story, and they like the movie gave them a bit of a background and how they all intertwined. And I thought, like, I'm not a massive Brad Pitt fan, and it's not because I don't think he's talented or anything. I think I sit somewhere in that millennial belt of just being on the cusp of being a millennial. So I didn't have a crush on him, and I never have. I mean, like, obviously he's good looking, and in Troy is probably where he peaked for me. But I didn't have posters of him on my wall. That wasn't really my vibe.
That being said, you did spend a lot of time talking about him when we talked about Seven in your very first episode.
Yeah, but that's because I really like that movie.
Yeah, oh yeah. Like he's one of those guys who whenever I hear his name, or especially when I was younger, I'm like, pretty boy. And then you look at the caliber of films he puts out, and you're like, geez, and he really does do only fantastic. Even films that aren't so good, he's great in. And this film feels very deliberately stylized, and I think that's going to annoy some people because it is just like, oh, we're crazy, we're in Japan, and we're on a train, and it's it's like, but. And this African American guy's got blonde hair, and like we're doing kooky stuff, but it's just fun. Like it's just so much fun.
That's what I mean. Like you could tell he was really having fun with the character.
Yeah.
And like how he's on this spiritual journey, and then all of a sudden, like even just the cameos I thought were hilarious. And like like from his minder, and also the guy whose job he's doing.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, hang on a minute, and it's just funny. Because you find out who it is, and you're like, of course it's you, like you. But yeah, I loved all the characters in it. There was some like Aaron Taylor Johnson has had a little bit of a resurgence recently.
He's so good. Like, he's so underrated.
I will say that I have had a crush on him since Thongs and Perfect Snogging. So I've been around, okay?
That's a deep cut.
I've known of him for quite some time, since I was in high school. I had the Ultraviolet song downloaded on my iPod, okay?
I think my introduction to him was Kick-Ass, which is brilliant.
Yeah, so
that's later.
Yeah. No, I know. Like, it's about 3 years later. I think Angus Thongs is about 2005, 2007. You might be able to correct me on that.
It's like I still go back and watch that movie because it just makes me feel like nostalgic for the time. But yeah, like, so I've like known about him for a long time, but just the stark contrast from obviously, like, you know, what he looked like as a teenager to in that movie, it was like, oof.
I think he might be my favorite part in Bullet Train. Like,
Me too.
Yeah, like Brian Tyler Henry. I think that's his name. Oh, I'm going to butcher it, and people are going to get angry. He's great in it. Joey King, I've been a fan of for must be close to a decade. I think she's brilliant, and she's one of those actresses who never gets enough work. Like, she should be working constantly in big things. Same as Anya Taylor-Joy, same as Imogen Poots. They should all be getting the Florence Pugh careers, and they're not quite getting them. But that might be their own choice. You know what? That's not fair. Anya Taylor-Joy's getting quite a bit of work, but
they're young. There's so much time.
No, I know, but like, I just want more of them. Like, all of these,
yeah,
guys. Like same with Aaron Taylor Johnson. Like, apparently he just did a screen test for Bond. I'm like, great.
Yep, I've heard, and I like, I don't know. This is probably a bit of sacrilege, but I've never seen a Bond film.
Yeah.
So,
oh, really?
You know, and I think it's always been the opening credits that have put me off because they go for so long.
If I can be sacrilegious as well, just watch Casino Royale, Skyfall, and No Time to Die.
Yeah.
Like, they're brilliant. Quantum of Solace gets maligned a lot, but it's fine. And Spectre, I have to rewatch because I've only seen it once, and I just thought it was a bit too straightforward. I like a few twists and turns in my Bond films. But Casino Royale, the first Daniel Craig Bond film, I think is the best Bond film of all time. It's so well done. Skyfall is beautiful because it's about an aging spy who realizes not even he is untouchable. Like, he's too old and he's starting to like kind of fall apart a bit, and probably shouldn't be a spy anymore. And then No Time to Die is just, it's just so good. It's just a great, kind of, I don't want to say too much without spoiling the film, but like, it's just a great, that is his last film. Like, that's what he said that's his on. If that's your final chapter, what a great way to finish. Like, those three films are chef's kiss. You'll love them.
What did you think about Bullet Train?
I thought it was so funny. Like, I felt like the action scenes it's just so well put together. It's like if John Wick was a comedy.
Yeah. What a great way to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like if Snowpiercer was a comedy. Like,
yeah. It's just it doesn't take itself seriously at all. But that's it. The movie has so much charm.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful from the cameos, like, of just random celebrities, to the banter back and forth. Like, it's genuinely hilarious.
What's the stickers? There's the Thomas the Tank Engine stickers. But what does he say to people that he doesn't like?
Is it a
You're a diesel.
A diesel,
yeah. I went around calling people diesels for a while. I was like, you're such a diesel.
It was solid. That was just one I bought off the shelf. I'm like, I'm just going to give it a go. Like, I think you'd be talking about it quite a bit, Gabby. I think you saw it 2 or 3 times.
I saw it twice. I think I saw it with my dad and sister, and then I saw it with Andre because I was like, yeah, I think you'll really like this, and I want to watch it again. So,
it almost even feels a bit like, and like, people hate comparing to, but almost kind of feel like it had almost like a Deadpool vibe as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, it's just a fun action film. It's over the top. It's silly. Like, it's going to get really violent in places, and it's going to be very convoluted and, not always make the most sense, but like, you will be entertained for as long as you're watching this movie.
That's it. Like, it's entertaining from start to finish. Like, again, and it's paced really weirdly, but again, there's just a charm about it. Like you'll have these really fast takes, but then you'll sit down and have these two characters talk for like 5 minutes straight, and you just love to follow their conversation because it's just genuinely hilarious.
I will say this: I think the conversation scenes are better than the action scenes. And that's not a criticism of the action. Just the dialogue is so snappy and like, well written and sharp. It just, that's why I liked. We're talking about a movie before. Which one was we talking about? Well, the Menu. The Menu is very much a dialogue film, and I adore dialogue. That's why Clerks is one of my favorite films of all time because nothing happens; they just talk. You give me a good dialogue film, and I'm happy. And Bullet Train is the best of both worlds because you've got great dialogue, and then you have like people getting their arms cut off and getting thrown off trains and stuff, which is just a really good hybrid. I'm so glad that's me. I'm loving your list so far because yes, there are a couple we've talked about which are absolute classics, but you're talking about films that no one's talked about so far. Like no one's talked about Smile, no one's talked about The Menu, no one's talked about Black Phone, no one's talked about Prey. Like you're bringing all. Yeah, this is a great list. I'm digging this.
Yay!
What is next after Bullet Train?
So we have Top Gun Maverick.
What a movie!
Yeah. I will say I haven't seen the original Top Gun.
I will say something controversial and say you don't need to.
I agree. I watched it after seeing the second one because I told my dad that we went and saw it, and he's like, "Oh, what? You haven't seen the first one? Oh, you got to see the first one. Blah blah blah. It's iconic. Blah blah blah." And I was like, "Okay," and I am not a huge Tom Cruise fan, and I think, to be fair, I base it a lot on his pop culture personality rather, or like, the things you hear about him.
Couch jumping and Katie Holmes and Scientology.
Yes, and so maybe that's probably why I am not obsessed with him like Nick is, but I think that if I was a sort of young person in the 80s when that came out, I could have definitely got around it. But I did feel like there was far more substance and such a much better story.
Agreed.
In the second one, and the team coming together, there was more fleshed out characters. My biggest criticism of the first one was that, like, you have this friendship and then Goose dies. And that's it. And they're sad about it for like 3 minutes.
And then it's like the danger zone.
It's like the love scenes are more drawn out than the death of Goose, which I think, why are we not talking about that more? What? That really shit me, actually. I was like, what the hell?
I was talking about this with Nick to a certain extent. I think even off the recording, I was saying, like the first Top Gun film, like it's fine. Like it's not a bad movie, but it is a product of its time. And I think it resonates more with people who've seen it when they're younger. Like
for sure.
I got to the game a bit too late, but it felt like they had this movie and it's like, it's about recruits and they're in Top Gun and Top Gun's the academy and that's what the movie is. And then an exec saw the film and like, where's your final battle? We need like a big action set piece. And like, oh, guys, you've just graduated, and by the way, you've got to go into a mission straight away. Like it just felt like a studio note where they're like, you need to have a battle. Where from the get-go with this first one, very early, they're like, hey, there's a mission. You have to practice for it because we're only taking the best of the best. And I gushed over this film when I talked to Nick about it. Like, this is not a movie I expected to like at all. This was like the hotly most anticipated film of 2022, and I was like, count me out. And all the trailers did nothing for me. I was like, but no one had a negative review, which is dicey because they're like, I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to be the first. But I could not believe how much I loved that film. It was so effective, so well done. I said it to Nick, a big part of it is that Tom Cruise, after 10 years of being in his 50s, is finally embracing his age and like leaning into it. Like that's, I think, the problem I've had with his previous films is that I'm like, I like him and he's impressive, but he's trying to prove how young he is. Where in this one is like, look, I'm not the young hotshot. I'm like the aged guy, and I'll do what I can. And then he has that beautiful scene where he has to do the run himself to show that it can be done.
Yeah,
which is so well done. But I never felt like he was trying to like act young and cool. Like there are other films, The Mummy in particular, where he's really trying to prove that he can hang out with the 20-year-olds. I'm like, no. Do James Bond in Skyfall. Like, embrace your age, realize that you're not perfect anymore, and you're going to make mistakes. And Maverick really did that for me. Andre, what did you think of the flick? Because I keep answering for you.
No, Gabby and I watched it in the drive-in. And that's a whole story when it stopped. Where
Love
everything
the
went wrong.
drive-in. Love the drive-in.
No, everything went wrong, man. It didn't go.
That's part of the charm of the drive-in.
But yeah, I'm not. I not seeing the first one. I went into it with no expectations, and came out thinking, wow, that movie was fantastic. And yeah, like you said, I'm glad Tom Cruise wasn't a 60-year-old trying to play a 24-year-old again. He was calming in that movie. He felt like he fit his age. He was, he's not the spring chicken anymore, but he's there to teach the spring chickens how to fly.
Absolutely, yeah. And he was still the Maverick. Like that opening scene where he's testing like the law, like the limits of the plane, and like there's the football scene. Like there are like he's still got that cheekiness, which is which sounds really weird. I'm like, oh, he's so cheeky Tom Cruise. But like you want that, you want elements of. You don't want him to be stoic and still and like I'm all grizzled now. Like you want there to still be that kind of playfulness, but it's good that he's acting more his age. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in that particular film, I'm look. Even though I'm not a giant fan of Tom Cruise as a person, I can separate artists from the art, and I'm happy to watch another film with him going forward now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a feat. Like I know we are talking before about Everything Everywhere All at Once and how it's been getting accolades. I think that if Maverick doesn't get some acknowledgement, that's a disappointment. That's a missed opportunity because
I would think so as well, especially like, okay, we've talked up Tom Cruise and pumped up his tires, but the performances from the other actors, especially Miles Teller, I thought
so good.
Like it's probably my favorite role that I've seen him in.
Have you seen Whiplash?
No, see,
that's fantastic.
I haven't seen it, but I have heard he's really good in that too.
Very good.
He's brilliant, and J.K. Simmons is better. And that is not a slam against Miles Teller at all. It's like Miles Teller is almost perfect, and then J.K. Simmons is better. It's just, it's directed by the guy Damien Chazelle who did Babylon most recently and La La Land. And La La Land and Whiplash are about the same thing. They're just very, very different films.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely worth your time. Like it's a compelling watch and such a character-driven film. And I can watch J.K. Simmons do anything. Like he's just such a brilliant actor. But yes, I'm with you on the Maverick. I think it's a brilliant film. I loved it. I could not believe how much I enjoyed it. So much so that when it was done, I said to my wife, I'm like, I just got done watching Maverick. She's like, good. I'm like, do you want to watch it? We can watch it again. And she was like, it's 10 o'clock at night. I was like, fair enough.
Okay, I guess.
And all the the cinematography and the angles and all the jets as they're flying, you're so encapsulated.
And all shot in planes. Fun. Like everyone had to learn how to be in a plane to do that movie. Like I very rarely go for that. Like when the I think I mentioned this last time as well, but like the whole Leonardo DiCaprio eating real meat when he's a vegetarian revenant, I'm like, yeah, but you could just not eat the meat. Like, you know what I mean? And like that's when they told me like they went in planes, I'm like, yeah, but you could just not go in the planes. But it does really add to the excitement of the film. It really does. Yeah, like I didn't feel any more excited when Leonardo DiCaprio ate meat in that movie, but like with these guys in planes, it really did. Like it didn't feel in a world where we're getting a lot of CGI in films, which I have no problem with. Like use what you've got. We were just talking about Avatar before, but in a world where in a year where we had so many CGI heavy films, like you've got your Marvel films, you've got your DC films, you've got your Avatars. For Maverick to be like, look, yeah, there'll probably be some, but this is going to be very much a film where everything is practical. It was really refreshing and really paid off. What a great flick. I'm so glad that we're still talking about this movie. Like that's one that's been on just about everyone's list and it deserves it. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it didn't show up on everyone's list. Like if you've seen it, I would be shocked to hear if you didn't like it because there was so much to enjoy. I mean,
And think about it, like all three of us had never seen the first Top Gun.
yeah, that's it.
Like in 2022 until Maverick came out, and so like and all three of us said that means there's an audience. Like that movie made like $1 billion on that. Like that means most of the audience is probably new. Like I don't think it's just diehard Top Gun fans coming out to see it. I think it's new audience has been like, what is this? Let's check it out, and people really digging what they're putting down. So
I saw it with Andre, and then I saw it with my dad and my sister, who really like. I don't know. She's, you know how like sometimes it's like cool to hate things. Like it's cool to hate Nickelback. Well,
Never Again from Silver Side Up, great Nickelback track.
So I'm not. Don't, because my dad's like such a Nickelback fan.
It's not a single. It's like I'm not even kidding. Like it's a great song.
Yeah. But yeah, so like for her, it's cool to hate Tom Cruise. So she was like, I don't want to watch it. It's gonna be shit. And then she watched it and she loved it. I think it was her favorite movie of last year. So yeah, like it's a great movie. The next one that we've got.
We're down to the last three. We're heading to the pointy end, as we say on the show, because I run out of catchphrases quickly.
The next one we've got is Glass Onion, so that Knives Out, the second one.
Now, this is one of the few I think the only film on your list I haven't seen. Oh no, I hadn't seen Avatar. I haven't seen Glass Onion. I was meant to watch it on the Christmas weekend. We went on a trip and we didn't have any internet, which was very refreshing, but we couldn't watch Glass Onion. So I haven't seen it yet.
It came out in that week.
Yeah, it was that and Matilda came out the same weekend. And then when we got home, we chose Matilda.
Okay, sure.
Which we quite enjoy. So I haven't seen Glass Onion yet, but I love Knives Out, and I'm keen to hear what you guys think about this one.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen Knives Out. I think I'd seen a lot of like stuff on the internet about it, and I just like didn't get around to watching it. And then I saw this and I loved it. So then I went and watched Knives Out. I personally like Glass Onion more, but Andre said that he liked Knives Out more.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because you saw Glass Onion first?
Yeah.
I think that's the case as well, because I've heard mainly positive but mixed reviews. Or a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I think it's almost like the Tarantino thing. Like whichever film you see first, that's your favorite film generally.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the same with this franchise. Like he's going to keep doing them from the sounds of it. He wants to keep doing mystery films with Netflix. But yeah, it's always going to be a different cast, because Knives Out was such a refreshing film when it came out a few years ago, because we hadn't really had a whodunit film in a while. We hadn't done like a good mystery film. Like I'm trying to think what the last one was before that. Probably like Murder on the Orient Express, which was a remake of a remake of a remake. Which
I like that too, and that didn't like.
I haven't seen it, but apparently it's fun. You know.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, and like this one, I just felt like I say I've never watched a Bond film, but I've seen Daniel Craig as James Bond. That's all I remember him doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know how, people will see Daniel Radcliffe and he's done so much stuff since Harry Potter, but they only see him as Harry Potter. And
ironically, all the stuff he's done since Harry Potter is more interesting and better.
Right.
And not a slam against Harry Potter. He is the most daring actor in Hollywood right now. He's like, just give me something weird, make me a farting corpse, make me
make me weird. I'll like
that's that's a film from last year I haven't had a chance to see, because
I haven't seen it either, so I'll be keen to watch that. But yeah, so I was like, I went into it being like, is he gonna be the suave like gentleman? And it
not
was
at
like,
all.
it was the complete opposite, and he's this like Southern gay, which I love. And all his costumes like are so cute, and just and I think in Knives Out they don't lean into the gay thing really too much. You have like a little bit of suspicion maybe, but in the second one, like you see his husband.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that he was gay because I've seen like all those memes online where they're like comparing Bond to his character, and it's like
Mm.
womanizer, outwardly gay. Like
Yeah,
so I knew that. I didn't know he saw his husband. But I think that's the beauty of kind of exploring this universe further. Like that first movie is like, we're going to tell a very neat story about murder and mystery and that, and then this one's like, now we can expand the universe. Here's a different mystery. Let's play with this character. And it sounds like he's having a lot of fun, because those Bond films I think were quite demanding for him.
Yeah, and I think I think you can just tell that he's enjoying it and having fun with it, and being sort of what's the word? Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Is he just kind of like chewing the scenery?
Eccentric, like just
Yeah.
very that, and like yeah, like I just thought it was really fun, and like his accent is so funny. So I just
Sorry,
yeah, it was just a very fun watch.
I feel like this is the kind of role where, unlike Bond, like Bond, Superman, Batman, like all of those roles, you need to be working on that role constantly. Like you need to stay in the right shape and keep that physique. You need to be doing all this. You need to look as young and virile as possible. Again, Bond subverted it with Skyfall, but like I think those roles demand so much of you. But with this role, like I just feel like Daniel Craig's like, hey, I can just be fat and 80 and still do this role, because it doesn't matter. Like I don't need to be like the suave, like athletic, hitman. I can just just solve mysteries. Like yeah, anyone could do that. Like it'd just be fun and lean into. So it feels like almost like a good retirement role, where it's like, hey, I can just do this for the next 20 years if I want to. Like it's not going to demand too much of me, and that's not a bad thing, by the way. Like that's great that he's just like, I found a role that I really like. It's fun. It doesn't demand too much of me. I can just lean into a play this character every couple of years.
And I'd watch it for 20 years too. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I would get tired of it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's always another mystery. Like, you can always do, and then we can just do the Predator thing. Just do a mystery in Egypt. Do a mystery do a mystery on the Amazon. Like, you can just do like on an Amazon boat down the river or whatever. There's always things you can do.
Yeah, like if Knives Out was a TV show, I would watch it constantly. Is when Gabby first pitched it, I had no idea what it was. And within the first 10 minutes, like all these characters are opening a big puzzle box, and I was like, oh, this is different. And then and then they go to an island again. Edward Norton's there, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, it was very cool. I laughed when I first heard Daniel Craig's accent. It like to me, it just did not fit him. I was like, what this shit is going on?
It's really unexpected.
Yeah, it's so unexpected. But as the movie progressed, yeah, he was he was just having so much fun. And like you were saying, in stark contrast to the Bond films, like at the start of this movie, he's the outlier of the group. He's not an unwanted guest, but he's just kind of that. He's that kind of like kid that just follows you around on the playground. He's just there. But yeah, I absolutely loved the movie. I did prefer the first one better because I think the mystery itself is just a little bit better of how it was executed. But still, it's just such an interesting film. Of what's going to happen next, and who do we suspect? Maybe it's that person, but like XYZ. But yeah, I'd love the film so much. And after that, I just turned to Gabby. I was like, "Where's the next one?" And she's like, "Oh, it's right here. There's a first one." And I was like, "Let's go. Let's watch it right now."
That's a solid pick. I've got to check it out. Like it's on my list. And there are a couple of films from last year I haven't watched yet, and I am holding out for Tan to watch them. Like we have a rule where it's like, look, if you want to watch it, just watch it. But I think Glass Onion's one that we will enjoy together, so that's the only reason I haven't got to it yet. But we finally watched Secrets of Dumbledore, and that only took us 2 weeks, so I'm sure we'll get to Glass Onion soon, and probably question why we didn't watch that before Secrets of Dumbledore, but that's okay.
All righty.
Final two.
Top two, or not top two, but just like the last two on the list.
Yeah. So we had Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which I think is one of the best Marvel movies to come out since Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Yeah, I agree. which was only 3 movies later, but still, like, it's such a strong. I'll let you guys talk about it because I won't shut up about it if I get started. So, but yeah,
yeah, it's the way the way they dealt with Chadwick Boseman's death was very well, it tied into the movie very well, but in even in real life they respected his character so much, um and the way and the way Shuri took over the mantle. I think I think that they've done a spectacular job. Because I was a massive fan of the first Black Panther film, and they've just outdone themselves with this one.
I agree, and it feels like we might be in the minority there, but like. I think I've said this a few times. Like, I love Black Panther. That first one was great, but Black Panther in that movie is kind of a bit boring. Like, he's so noble and so like focused and knows the difference between right and wrong that he's not flawed. So he's kind of the least interesting character in his whole movie. But in this film, you have Shuri first of all like unwilling to process her grief. And then when she finally has someone to blame, she's just like, I am coming for blood.
Yeah.
And we have that wonderful cameo scene. I won't spoil it for people, where she has the vision and she's expecting to see, her brother or her father on the plains, and it's someone else entirely.
Yeah, I thought I thought that was so good because she's angry.
Yes.
She's in that state of mind where like she has a same state of mind as that particular character.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was brilliant to tie that character into it. It just shows exactly where she is right now and her headspace, and I love the two uh I'm trying not to spoil it. The two opposing sides, they don't.
You know what? Spoilers. We're gonna spoil it in three,
Okay, yeah,
2,
screw
1.
it. Shuri, Shuri and Namor don't particularly want to fight them, but at the same time, they both want to protect their lands, and they're both caught in a conflict where they want to make peace,
Yeah.
but that peace could lead to their world being destroyed. Unless they can both bite the bullet and say, "Hey, I need you, and you need me," then then it just leads into conflict, and I thought it was such a great way to portray it.
And I thought Namor was done so well. Like, it would have been, sorry, Namor. That's the way they pronounce it in the film. Namor. Like, it would have been so easy just to make him a generic villain or just to do it a certain way, but to give him so much kind of depth.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, he's one of the characters I'm looking forward to seeing most. Like, of all the new characters, and there are a few pretty strong new characters. He's one of the ones I'm really looking forward to seeing more of. And how does he tie into Doctor Doom because they have a history in the comics? How's he going to tie into the Fantastic Four because they've got a history in the comics? Like, at one point, he tried to or successfully did steal Mr. Fantastic's wife. Kind of into seeing like what they play with there. Like, and I know people complain about the length. Maybe you could have cut 5-10 minutes out of the underwater scene, but also it's an underwater people. You need to spend some time there to get some understanding of them. There's not really much to trim. I really loved Martin Freeman's involvement and kind of the development of his story, finding out his connection to Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. Like, there's a lot in this movie, and none of it feels like overkill or forced. I know people didn't love Riri, but I actually really dug kind of her attitude, and I like Ironheart as a character, and I can't wait to see more of her as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and like I'm glad they actually showed some depth into into Wakanda. It's going to be sidetracked, but the only gripe that I had with Avengers Infinity War is that the main battle on Earth was taken in Wakanda. But it didn't feel like the city itself was in any actual danger, because they were so focused on the fighting in the front line compared to we'll say Helm's Deep and in Lord of the Rings, for example. You still see the people in the catacombs under the city, and they're frightened, and they're in danger. So you can feel the danger for them.
Yeah, as you started saying that, I just thought of how chaotic it would be to see those kind of outriders going through the markets and like tearing apart the buildings. I'm like, oh, that would have been like if you remember in WandaVision when Monica Rambeau gets snapped back into the hospital and mum's been dead for 3 years and everyone's losing their mind. I'm like, oh my god, like that would have been fantastic. And like, look, Infinity War did a lot of heavy lifting. Like James Gunn recently said those films didn't do a great job of showcasing Mantis, which I do agree. But at the same time, like they just had to do so much with those movies. You can't put everything in there. But yeah, moving the battle to in the city of Wakanda, I think would have been, there's a really interesting perspective there, and you could have done some really cool things.
Yeah,
and now you're making me want a different movie.
or like even showing some scenes of the Wakanda's like retreating like into the inner city, just to show some depth of danger of where they are. But that's neither here nor there. But back to the actual movie. When Shuri and her mother were sitting next to that beach, and Namor just comes out of nowhere, just infiltrating the city, with no with no sensors going off, nothing. That sent a chill down my spine. I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. And Angela Bassett, and I know Gabby's gonna have some things to say about Angela Bassett in a moment. What a performance!
Oh, fantastic!
Was she the first person to get nominated and win for a Marvel film? Is that what I read?
Yeah. So, I think she's absolutely stunning as a person. I mean, I don't know her personally. We don't hang out, but like just to
not like me and James Cameron. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. But visually, I think she's so beautiful, and I really think she's so talented. She commands every role that I've watched her in, and she really took sort of like a side character from the first movie and made her into like a leading character in this movie. The scene where they're in like I think it's like the ICC or something, or like even the United Nations or whatever.
Oh, what a great scene.
And just the sheer emotions, I've lost everything. I've given up so much. What else do I have to give? Like, you're demanding all this from me and you've taken everything from me.
Is this when there was the raids trying to get the vibranium in like the first?
Yes.
That's a brilliant scene. And one scene, which I think is probably a bit more obvious, I don't probably the one people go to, but the standout scene for me is in the throne room where Okoye is like, don't take this away from me. Like, and she says this beautiful, heartfelt plea. And like, there's a really emotional scene. Like, I think I probably cried in it because I cry all the time. And at the end of Okoye's speech, I'm like, yeah, like, don't do it. And then Ramonda like launches back and she's like, you've given everything. And like, I have no son, my daughter's missing, like all this sort of stuff. And I was like, yeah, she's right. Shut up, Okoye. Like, and like, it's like, I'm like, they're both just so beautifully like and elegantly executed to the point where like, I was kind of touching on this before. Like, this is a female-driven film where all the characters have a backstory. We know these characters from a couple of movies now, and they just seamlessly took over T'Challa's role.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not one person's film. Like, it's still like, you can argue for Shuri, but it's as much Shuri's film as it is Ramonda's film up until a certain point. It's as much their film as Okoye's up until a certain point. Like, these three women, and I guess like Riri to an extent, like she's got quite a bit to learn and go through this. But there's three women of Wakanda, there's three pillars of strength who were there in service of T'Challa, kind of having to kind of piece their lives back together and also deal with this trauma. Like, that's the other consistency in Marvel over the last phase is trauma has been a big theme. And just
like, just you see like Shuri go through those stages of grief of not wanting to believe it, not wanting to accept it, being angry about it, being sad about it, not wanting to process the emotions, and sort of towards the end accepting what's happened and seeing where to from here. Like, how do I deal with this in a healthy way? Because you never really get over death. Like, you don't just wake up one day and be like, okay, I don't care anymore. It's just that you finally accept it and you are able to remember that person in a light way, in a loving way, rather than a way where you feel like something's been taken off you. So, I think a lot of people might be able to relate to that journey, because it's not like, a short one for most people. So you do see a lot of growth from her, and I'm excited to see what comes next, and especially that, like, I'm not sure if you saw the after credits.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, what now?
Well, I mean, this is unrelated to the after credits, but I've been saying this since the first Black Panther film came out, and I just want Shuri and Peter Parker in a room together. Like that's what I've been wanting for the last 5 years.
That would be so much fun.
Like, especially now that Peter Parker kind of doesn't have anyone, it's kind of like, you can, like, whether it's a friendship or a romantic thing, like just these two teenage geniuses like taking over from their mentors and stuff. I just think there's a lot of fun to be had with them.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And one thing I love, just to go back on the story of the women for a second, is none of them are wrong, and they're never really pitted against each other, which is kind of unique. Like when you have to do a strong female story, I mean, what seems to be the go-to is like, we need them to be antagonized by another woman, or they have to compete against each other, and it never feels that way. Like they're all fighting for their own place, and sometimes they don't agree, but it's never a competition, and their goals are ultimately the same. It's just about how do we get there, and how does Shuri navigate her story to get to where she needs to get to? How does Ramonda kind of navigate the loss of her son and the needs of her people? How does Okoye kind of win back the royal favor and honor the man that she loved? Oh, and Nakia. We haven't even talked about Nakia. Like, she's obviously brilliant as well.
Yeah.
My only criticism of the film, it wasn't even a criticism, but there was a point in the film, and again, spoilers, like obviously Shuri she manufactures the herb, which is a great storyline. I was like, what a great idea. Like, because all the herbs are burnt. She's smart enough to be able to replicate it synthetically. Like, that was a really cool storyline. She takes the herb, she sees Killmonger, and then she becomes a Black Panther. I was sitting there in the theater, and I loved that. I'm like, you've got M'Baku and Nakia right here. Like, why aren't they taking it? Like, why aren't you just having a bunch of Black Panthers? Like, that's what I'd be doing. Like, I know they want to showcase the different suits and make it colorful, interesting, but I'm like, I don't know, man. You got 3 people who are suitable for the role. Let's get 3 Black Panthers in here.
Yeah, but like could you see M'Baku in a Black Panther outfit?
I feel like it would be modified. Like, it wouldn't be the same. Like, I think he would go for a very stripped back kind of primitive look. He wears a lot of furs, and he wears kind of a lot of tribal outfits. So I think he would be like, it wouldn't be the same like kind of form-fitting spandex. It would probably be a little, like an altered version, maybe like a panther skull on his face or something. Like, go for a more tribal look. But I think he could rock it.
I really did like. I guess the last thing that I wanted to add is I really liked his character in this movie too, because
such great development.
Yeah, because in the first one, he's like the scorned other tribe leader, like, oh, now you want our help and all that kind of stuff. And, he really does kind of act not like a big brother, but kind of to Shuri, to give her that reassurance.
Yeah,
and
he really does lean into that brother role. Yeah,
because that's what she's missing. And that's what T'Challa was to her, to sort of keep her grounded and stuff. So I really like seeing that, because it was a sweeter side of him, while he's still, big and strong and tough. And as when Namor comes to Wakanda again to sort of fight the Wakandans, you see M'Baku, like, be M'Baku, but it is nice to have those like softer moments. So yeah, I like that.
He also has my favorite delivery of a line in maybe any film of 2022. And I don't know if I can do it, because I don't know if it's insensitive to impersonate it.
Please do it.
When he refers, he's like, they call him Kuku Khan. and he has like a crazed look in his eye. It's in the trailer. He's like, and I'm not going to do it. I feel like it's a really problematic accent for me to do as a white man. But when he says they call him Kukulkan, Khan, it's like the most entertaining thing. And like basically it's like the Aztec word for like God or something.
Yeah.
You know, if you've seen the movie or even the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like, I don't know why, it just makes me smile every time I hear him say, because it's just such a weird delivery, but it's the right choice for that moment. Alrighty, one film left. Now, did we save the best for last, or is it just like, oh, this is the last one?
Well, this one was my number one.
Nice. I see who's been setting up the list today.
And it was Andre's number 2.
Oh, that's pretty strong.
Yeah. But this one is The Batman.
Of course. How did I not see this coming? I'm like, I wonder what it could be. I don't know what we've talked about. Yes.
I loved it, and I saw it 3 times in the cinemas. So
that is 9 hours of movie watching.
9 hours of movie watching, and each time I watched it, I found new things to like about it. You know, I loved the grungy style of it all. I liked that it was a kind of Batman that I kind of hadn't really seen before, like a young Batman that's really just figuring it out. He's not even Batman really.
He's making mistakes.
He's when he, after that first sort of fight scene at the start, he's coming back and he like falls, he like hits a bus or something, and
when he uses that's so good.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, so you're not perfect. And admittedly, I am a lover of the Twilight Saga. I was obsessed with it in school.
Nothing wrong with that.
I will still watch it now as a form of like my own therapy. But yeah, like I'm part of a Twilight like shit posting group on Facebook, and when it came out, like there was so many comparisons made between Edward and Bruce Wayne, and like not like the wanky like butthurt people on the internet go, oh it's Twilight. Well, it's like just the character and the more developed character that you get in the books. The comparisons were kind of funny, like how he's a little bit of like, a bit of a brat, a bit of a like sook, a bit emotional, a bit of an overthinker, a bit very, very, very moody. And, you see all that because he is still young, he is still learning. And like, I remember the first time I watched it, when he was like mean to Alfred, I was like, why are you being such a rat? Like, be nice to him, okay? He looked after you. But, I really liked that you sort of found out a little bit more about the backstory with the parents and Carmine and like that whole story. I think I can't remember his name, but the guy who played the Riddler.
Oh, Paul Dano.
Yeah, he was a great choice. That new take on the Riddler, because I'd only ever seen Jim Carrey's one, and also the one that's in the show Gotham.
Corey, what's his name? It's Corey something. Which is a great take. He's he really is doing a bit of Jim Carrey in his performance, but he is quite good. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it's Corey something. I'll find out what you're looking it up. What you're talking about.
Like just that little, how it seems like this could definitely. It's such a real take. Like in this world, that's how that kind of crazy criminal would act. They would be posting everything online. It would have its own Reddit thread. It would have followers. It would have, it would be a crazy movement. I mean, like, to take it a whole different direction, only 2 years ago we had a bunch of tradies storm the Westgate Bridge.
Yeah.
And that was organized on a Facebook group over, some union nonsense. Like, I really don't remember what happened, but like, if you could get a bunch of people to do that in like 24 hours, imagine what you could do in that entire timeline of the movie and all these events that led up to, the finale. It could certainly happen. And especially in a setting like, Gotham/New York, like, it could definitely happen.
Definitely the incel school shooter angle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
very like confronting and very topical, but was the absolute right direction, because Riddler, and I was talking about this with Tina, I think, as well. He's such a goofy villain. And not in a bad way. Like, I mean, there's comics who've been around since the 30s, like, of course he's going to be silly. Like, they were created in a different time, but there are ways. I would remember, like, years ago, I was like, what they need to do is make the Riddler like Jigsaw. Like, that's what you need to do. Like, the
Yeah.
Riddler, because it's still riddles, but he's making traps and stuff. And then in the Arkham games, they kind of played with it a little bit. But this is like, it's such a nice delineation from the Joker, because the Riddler kind of gets lumped in with him as being kind of like a discount Joker. But there is a real difference between those characters. And now to see that executed in this film, you're like, oh, like, he's clearly not the Joker. Like, he's having fun, but not the way the Joker has fun. Like, he's very proud of himself.
Yeah, he
Very
thinks
smug.
he's smart.
Yeah. I also, as a longtime Batman fan and comic book reader, was tickled by the fact that they finally did the internal monologue.
Yep.
And there's not a lot of it, and that's okay. But people have always been like, you can't do it. You can't make it work in films. Even though we saw Rorschach do it in Watchmen, they were like, you can't make it work in movies. And like, if he had, like, they did it throughout the film. Like, it wasn't, all 3 hours, but it would kick in. You're like, yeah, because he does journals, and they showed us that early on. And like, as a comic book reader, I'm like, you know what? That was a nice little touch. I really liked that.
I also just loved how, like, the mystery, like, solving aspect of it, like how there was a lot of detective work in there. Like, it wasn't just like punching up bad guys or all stunts. Like, there was the mystery aspect and like who's doing all this, who's orchestrating all this, how does this happen, and how does each story tie in with the other. Like, I really like that because
I agree entirely. Like,
he's a detective.
He's a detective character, and they don't shy away from it in the other movies. They don't, in terms of referring to him, it's like, oh, the Dark Knight detective, world's greatest detective. But they never let him do any detective work. They call him it, but they never. The exception being Batman vs Superman, where like he has to find the white Portuguese, but like it's revealed that if he had just done a Google search, he would have figured out what that was because it was a boat. Like, I like there was a bit more to it, but and you know what? Also, like, kind of hacking the Lex Luthor's server and finding the photos and videos of Justice League. So there was a bit more detective work in that movie, but this film is like balls to the wall for 3 hours is detective story. It is also the most Batman you've ever seen in a Batman film, because he's almost never Bruce Wayne, which I really dug.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I guess the only other things that I could really say is that scene, like the car chase scene when like the car finally flips over, and like people had a bit to say about the 3 repetitive songs, but that scene, every time I watched it, so all 3 times in the cinemas, I got goosebumps. I was just like, yes, like, this is so epic. And like, the walk in slow motion, the silhouette of him walking towards the car and the fire in the background, I was just like, this is cinema. Like,
Yeah, well, like, Tina and I talked about this as well, because I remember after seeing The Dark Knight, I was like, well, I never need to see a Batmobile chase again. Like, it's never going to get better than that. The Batmobile chase in The Dark
I
Knight
really liked his Batmobile too.
is like 90% practical effects. It's really, really fun. Like, there's the Joker's doing all sorts of wild stuff. Like, you're never going to do a better Batmobile chase than what you see in The Dark Knight. And we got a couple of Batmobile chases in Batman vs Superman, and then in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they're fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're not quite the Dark Knight one. The Justice League one, at least you get this cool shot where the Batmobile like goes in the air in slow motion and all the Justice League are flying around it. So that's pretty cool. But we don't really need one. And then in the Batman, you're like, oh my god, like you found a way to reinvent it and make it dirty and make it gritty and like I talked about this last episode. I felt so overstimulated watching that in cinemas. Like it was too much for me. I was like, it's loud and it's red and like I feel
very loud.
I'm in a cinema seat by myself and I feel claustrophobic. It's so intense.
Yeah,
Home video a lot easier, but like they found a way to make the Batmobile interesting and different from like you can watch those two Batmobile chases and never compare them. You're like they're just two different things and they're both perfect.
Yeah, I loved it. But yes, I would go on talking about it forever, so I'll let Anja have a turn.
It was good. The end.
Yeah, I saw it with Gabby. I loved how inexperienced he was. I loved how angry he was. Because I think we saw it in his journal that he's only been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah, year two.
Yeah, so he's still like he's still working out his threads. I mean, he wears giant steel cap boots for God's sake, and just watching that first scene where he beats the crap out of that one guy, like he just does not stop punching him. It very, very much set the tone for the whole movie. Okay, and you were right. Like Gotham is very dirty. Like this, like the whole movie is so dark. You can see those backgrounds on like undertones of the dark blues and grays that it just sets this particular rendition of Gotham in like it almost seems like a wasteland, but like it just happens to have a city in it.
Yeah, it's probably the best, probably my favorite Gotham of all the shows. Like Gotham in the Dark Knight series is quite good. Like even though it's Detroit, like it feels very, very like it feels very real world. Like and that obviously that the opening scene of the Dark Knight, just the glass window exploding, is one of the best opening scenes of any movie ever. But like Gotham really feels like a character in this, like, and just the fact that it seems to never stop raining and it seems to almost never be daytime. Like
exactly, it's like who wants to live here?
Like with the exception of the final scene where you kind of get the sunrise, there's very few daylight scenes, and you can see why. Like it's just that mindless drone of like, this is the mission never ends, and it's always going to be dirty and dark, and I just keep punching my way through until I make a difference. Like, it's. I think when I came back from seeing it in the cinemas, my wife asked me what I thought of it, and I said, you know what, that movie is relentless. Like it really just like it doesn't stop. It just never boring. There's never a moment in the film where I'm bored, and I was really worried when I was going to rewatch. I'm like, you know what, I loved this when I saw it in March, but this flick might not hold up. And I enjoyed it more the second time. It actually got better. I was like, wow, like I was getting ready for that final sequence, like the flood scene, because I do think that is where the film does get a bit long. But the second time around, I had no issues. I'm like, you know what, this is great. I just wasn't expecting it the first time. This flick is just firing on every cylinder.
It's exactly, and I like at the start when you see the first murder and the Riddler's
so scary.
Yeah,
I literally jumped.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this is so different. And it's done so well. But I like that he's wearing a mask, and I like that you don't know who he is. And it is that like detective aspect side of it that we do see in the Dark Knight movies, but not so detailed. They tend to forget that that Batman is he's not just a crime fighter, but formally he's the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, the scariest moment for me in that scene, like that opening scene, is so beautifully done. Where the mayor's watching the TV, he steps away, and you see the Riddler behind him first off, and you're like, he has been standing there for 10 minutes at least. He has been in that house for probably an hour, like. And that's one of the scariest things for me. Like I referenced the strangers before, just knowing that there's someone unwelcome in your house, just hanging out, just waiting for the right moment to launch their attack, is chilling.
Very, yeah.
And like, yeah, and he was obviously there for one purpose in that movie. Like, yeah, oh my god,
by far my favorite Batmobile. It's again because he doesn't he hasn't figured all this stuff out yet, so he's just been building a car, and it's essentially what looks like a Chevy with a fucking V10 engine and armor plating.
I when I first saw it, I wondered, and I don't think this is true, but I wondered whether it was a bit of a throwback to the '60s Batmobile, because it does give off some '60s Batmobile vibes, just like a lot grittier and dirtier, and it's kind of like it's Adam West Batmobile if he was living in the worst neighborhood ever.
Yeah, without a shock repellent.
Yeah, exactly. Shock repellent. That's great. But I love that it's just a muscle car. It's like, yeah, that's what it's when you I mean, I know Rob Pattinson, I think, is about my age, maybe a year or two younger than me. But that's what like a young Batman would drive, even with no ego, even with only the mission. He'd be like, well, I need to drive a muscle car. Like, I need a powerful car. And I just love that it's just like, yeah, just this muscle car. And he uses it for intimidation. Like, he just revs that engine and just terrifies people. It's so good. It's a solid flick.
And I'm so happy for Robin Pattinson. He's been able to, with this movie, just recontextualize himself as an actor, and like not being typecast as a pretty boy, because he's got that kind of emo look going on, but not. He just looks like he looks like a damaged rich boy who who doesn't want to associate with the upper class. He's very much his own. He's very much his own character, and it's just like I'm happy for him. It's fantastic to see, and I'm so happy for I hope they continue on with his particular universe.
Yeah, that's safe. I think they came out recently and were like, look, what we're doing at DC now won't affect the side projects. So the Joker thing, that's its own thing, and the Batman thing is its own thing. Any Batman they do will be contained to that kind of larger Justice League universe. So Batman's safe.
Good. And I saw a video on YouTube. I don't know if if it was at the ending credits of the Batman, but if you've seen it, he is in a prison talking to his version of the Joker.
Yeah, so that came out after the film a couple of weeks later. It was released online by Matt Reeves. It was a cut scene, so it's not there was no credit scene. They didn't make one after. But yeah, like originally that was kind of his Silence of the Lambs scene, where it's like, I'm going to the worst villain I've ever encountered to try and figure out who this current villain is. And I watched it, and it was a wonderful scene. But I was like, I'm glad they cut this. Like,
me too.
We've got 4 or 5 great villains in this film, all balanced perfectly. Like, that's what's incredible about this film. First of all, you've got Penguin, you've got Carmine Falcone, you've got the Riddler, you've got Catwoman, and they seem to all balance very, very well. All the relationships are perfect, like maybe except for the Alfred one, but I understand why they're doing that. But like the Jim Gordon Batman relationship has never been executed better. Like,
yeah,
and I didn't think you could top the Gary Oldman stuff. Like, that's so well done. But like seeing that, like I joked after, I'm like, you could have called this movie Batman and Jim, because it's just like those two working together the entire film. It's just a perfect execution. There's like, and like some of my favorite scenes in that film aren't even like action scenes. Like the funeral scene is one of my favorite scenes. And what I love in that is you see how the cops treat Batman versus how they treat Bruce Wayne, because they literally do it with the same actors.
Yeah,
so like
he's like
in the opening, like, what's the freak? What's he doing here? And then the same cops like, hey, Bruce Wayne, how you doing?
Hey, Mr. Wayne.
Like, I like just all those little touches. Like, they didn't need to put them in there. You would have made a great film without them. But just those little touches just accentuate and push that film further. It's wonderful. I am curious, Andre, what was your number one?
My number one was Bullet Train.
Nice one. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
excellent.
I like look if I could put both of them at number one, I could have. But for Bullet Train, I think I think overall, I just enjoyed just how silly and wacky it was. Like, I love both movies for very different reasons, but yeah,
definitely. I mean, look, they don't really make fun Batman films. Like, they're badass and they're serious, but like, you don't put in a Batman film like, well, this is gonna be a fun 2.5 hours. Like, it's gonna be intense and challenging and dark. It's not like an Avengers film or something like that. So I get that rationale. That is a hell of a list, guys. I don't disagree with any of those films on that list. As I said, there's 2 I haven't seen, which I'm very much looking forward to checking out. And you really sold me on Avatar. So job well done
Glad
there.
to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you guys have any honorable mentions? I know we've been going for about 3 hours. Storm's not notwithstanding, but was there anything that didn't quite make the cut that you wanted to bring people's attention to?
My only honorable mention was Thor.
That was mine as well.
So underrated.
I
So
really
underrated.
liked it. Everyone was like, why are you making it funny? I liked it because it was funny.
I said this on the last episode controversially. I like it more than Ragnarok, which I know is a statement that most people won't agree with, and that's fine. But I really liked Love and Thunder, and that moment at the end, like I could tell what was coming. Like he was going to say that Thor and his adopted daughter, that was their nickname, Love and Thunder. And as soon as like that line came out, I burst into tears. Like because I was good. It was like my first time going to the movies with my wife since we've had our daughter. Like, or what it was one of the first times, and like I just had my daughter's image in my head the whole time. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm a dad, and this is so beautiful. And like I was sitting there, and like the credits are playing. It's like hair metal, the most metal Marvel film we've ever had. And Tina was like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Just give me a moment." So like, I just, I don't know. Like, I just cry at everything. But no, what a great film, really underrated. And people, like, there's some weird CGI stuff. I just don't have the same issue with CGI that most people seem to have. Like everyone, like, if the CGI isn't what they, not Avatar level, like, oh, like the CGI, it's 2022, get it right. It's like it doesn't impact the story. Like I've seen some pretty unwatchable CGI in my time, but you know, if the story's good, it'll save it.
I have seen the movie Beowulf, so I don't think anything could get any worse. Because I tried to take a shortcut in year 12 lit by watching the movie, and like
probably left you with more questions than answers.
Yeah, I would have been better off watching a completely different movie about anything else. Because yeah, it was so bad. So I, when I rewatch old movies with like old CG, I'm like, oh, like yeah, like all right, still somewhat believable. Some things not so much, but I take it with a grain of sand because I can see what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the most money I've ever spent on watching a movie for a gold class ticket, what is it, like $40?
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah. It's the CGI argument, and like, I just feel like at this stage because Marvel's become a bit of an easy target because they're just like, look, they keep making money and they're not going to slow down. So what can we pick on now? Like that's what it feels like. I think consistently they're quite consistent with their quality. Even their weaker stuff is still very enjoyable. So no, that's a good honorable mention. Andre, you have homework. You need to watch Barbarian and you need to watch The Menu.
Yeah. Like Barbarian, like it's been on my list for a bit. I just haven't gotten around to watching it. Is it still in cinemas?
No, but it is on Disney Plus. So Barbarian and The Menu are both they're both on Disney Plus.
Fantastic.
And Everything Everywhere All at Once is on Amazon.
Oh, excellent. As is Terrifier 2, I believe. That's another one you should check out. I'm just because most of my friends are not horror fans, whenever someone says it, I just need to hear what people think of it because it's just wacky. It's crazy. But it is like it feels weird saying, but it is a lot of fun, even though it's really bizarre and messed up and traumatizing. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about those films the next time you're on. That's going to do it. That was another mammoth episode. I was like, we won't do another 3-hour episode. We'll definitely cut it down, but it is going to come in close to 3 hours, even with all the breaks in between.
Oh,
well. Excellent. Well, look, thank you so much for coming back, guys. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and you're going to be welcome back again and again. We've got the 90s to look forward to very soon. I'm sure you'll both have opinions and movies to add to that list.
Our time to shine.
Yep.
And
people are getting in.
We've also got the 50th episode coming up sometime, I think in April or May. So you guys will be welcome back for that because we're doing some pretty cool stuff there. I'll tell you more about that offline because it's a bit of it's people aren't gonna be like, they're like, wow, he revolutionized cinema the way James Cameron did. But like when they say like, oh well, that makes sense. But I think it's pretty fun and pretty ambitious for this show. Until then, thank you again, as I said to Andre and Gabby. Always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you all for listening. Please go ahead and like and follow on Instagram. I was a teenage film snob. Write only 5-star reviews. Anything less and I won't have it. Let's make this my career. Give me all your money. That would be lovely. No, just listen to the show, and just any support is always appreciated. And remember, as always, I say every week, guys, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.